It's like a two row that
It has
daddy.
nothing to do with golf. It's a
Yeah,
cruiser.
yeah.
No place to even put your clubs. If you play
There's
golf.
like speakers and stuff, right?
Dude, it has CarPlay on it. It is so ridiculous.
It's the one they were kept auctioning, right?
Yeah, I think it goes top speed like 20 miles per hour. That's way too fast.
It's way too fast for yeah.
It has seatbelts.
Right.
There's a roll bar.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, everybody in Terra, especially come summertime, that's how they get to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll take their little golf cart and then park over there where Terra High and the roundabout is.
Yep. I can walk from my house to the pool. It's literally right down the street.
You live in Terra, huh?
I live on Wakefield and Oakley, and so the pool. Yeah, the pool is at the other end, but it's not a terrible walk. It's maybe 3 or 4 blocks. And now I can take the golf cart over there, but
Okay, so Crescent and Tallahassee. I'm like where Tallahassee meets Crescent.
It's-
I'm like right here.
don't you live?
So walk to your house.
Don't you live in Terra as well?
No,
You live in
everybody. I live in Alpha Jones Creek in
you have
your
a-
old neighborhood. The one you were in
Wait,
before.
I was in Woodland Ridge near Episcopal for a while, and actually, I got to tell you, here's the thing: if I didn't have a kid going to Mercy,
Yeah,
I'd be a St. Thomas More parishioner, or maybe either St. Patrick or the Catholic Church piece is easy. Once you got to that side of town, though, like everything you need was either on Millerville or like I was like, oh, Best Buy, oh this, oh
Yeah.
this. It was just that I was going downtown, and it was just like, and then Mercy,
Yeah.
And so
the Mercy thing is pretty easy for us because I mean
you go to Florida.
I get on 10. I get off at Airline and then go to Florida to Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
But like other than this morning, Candace's bring here, it's pretty easy because it's on my way in government. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so that's otherwise everything is within my bubble where I'm at, and I don't really.
So Woodland Ridge was like its own country away from Sherwood.
Yeah.
And it was closer. I could get on Harold's Ferry and get to wherever I wanted to be. But once you were there, if you wanted to come back into town, it was an ordeal because you had to get all the way back to Sherwood, get on the interstate, go. It was a beautiful house, nice neighborhood. That relationship didn't work out, but
Yeah.
points for buying a house near Episcopal if you're engaged to an Episcopal
Well, that
teacher.
helps, yeah.
I mean that should have some. Franz is a good guy.
Yeah. He was generous at Halloween the one time I saw him.
Dude, I want to live vicariously through everybody else. That's really what I feel like.
Did you have a pool back there?
I did have a pool back there. That I was not excited about.
Yeah, the maintenance is not fun on that kind of shit.
I paid a guy to do it, and speaking of disposable income, just setting money on fire, it's always
Chemicals,
Yeah.
things. Yep, trust me, I understand. Sometimes I like to fill it in, make it a basketball court, just to get a membership at Terra.
my mama.
So y'all flooded, huh,
Hmm?
Your house, did y'all flood?
No, not when. So we bought it after the flood, but that particular house in the neighborhood did flood. This house did not.
But the house did not.
Yeah.
There was some weird areas where it was like high ground versus like, oh,
Yeah.
those 5 houses flood.
Or like the whole front yard and backyard floods, and it gets up to our door, but we're good,
That's scary.
right?
These mornings with Brian Haldane. News and newsmakers. Traffic and weather. Start your day with Baton Rouge's hub for information and opinion. Here is Brian Haldane.
Good morning. Cade Voisin filling in for Brian Haldane, the great and powerful Brian Haldane, as he makes his way to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, for 2 days of excellent content at Washington Mardi Gras. He'll be broadcasting live from the Washington Hilton tomorrow morning, Friday morning, and Thursday and Friday afternoon from 4 to 6. So lots of great information and interviews and conversation to have from Washington Mardi Gras. That all kicks off tomorrow. In the meantime, in his travel day, I am sitting in here comfortably, sitting in 29 degrees outside here in the capital city. Lots to get to today. We'll have Legally Served with Franz. We've got a preview of Washington Mardi Gras coming up next hour. I will be joined by Brian on Brian's show. And then we wrap up today's show with a newcomer to our lineup starting Monday afternoons from 4 to 6 will be occupied by Erick Erickson. He's got a connection to the capital city, if you're not familiar with the syndicated host, and we'll talk to him about that move and other things. And then Chef John False and company putting on a boucherie. If you're not familiar with a boucherie, if you're not familiar with White Oaks and the beautiful facility they have out there, lots to get to with Michaela from Chef John False and company in hour 3. But let's get everything started with today's top stories. Fitting it's the Baton Rouge Airport. That's where Brian's heading out as he goes to Washington Mardi Gras. Number 5, Donaldson Mayor Leroy Sullivan announced that the city's warming shelter will remain open through this Monday, February 2nd, extending its original schedule as freezing temperatures persist across South Louisiana. Residents needing a warm place to stay are encouraged to use the facility. I know that temperatures right now, as we mentioned, are around 30 degrees. Supposed to warm up a little bit today, but get colder again this weekend. A Denham Springs police officer riding a motorcycle was involved in a crash with an SUV Tuesday afternoon at Range and Railroad Avenues. The officer was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, while the SUV driver was uninjured. Police say the crash remains under investigation. 20-year-old Jacory Williams, shot in the back Monday night at Jetson Avenue in Plaquemine, was airlifted to a Baton Rouge hospital where he remains stable but guarded as far as his conditions are concerned. Possible paralysis. Deputies arrested 19-year-old Tyron Andrew Walker on an attempted murder charge Tuesday. Sheriff Brett Stassi said the shooting occurred as the victim was fleeing and posed no threat, adding that the incident reflects how quickly gun violence can alter 2 young lives. Iberville Parish narcotics agents arrested a 47-year-old Donnie Sanchez of Plaquemine, 55-year-old Mary Elizabeth Hutchinson of Addis on Tuesday for allegedly dealing meth. Both were booked in the Iberville Parish Jail on charges of possession with the intent to distribute methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia, while Hutchinson also faces an obstruction of justice charge. And sadly, 5 additional deaths related to Louisiana's recent sub-freezing weather have been reported by the Department of Health, bringing the total to 8. The fatalities include a 79-year-old DeSoto Parish woman whose oxygen equipment failed during a power outage, 46-year-old DeSoto man who died in an icy road crash, 2 Sabine Parish residents who suffered suspected hypothermia after a power outage, and a 78-year-old Franklin Parish woman who also died of the same. That is today's top stories. Breland has what's trending.
Cade, this story's a little crazy, and it's going to keep getting crazier. President Trump on Tuesday gave his Homeland Security Secretary a vote of confidence, saying Kristi Noem is doing a very good job and that he would not be stepping down. Trump also expressed that he wants a, in quote, very honorable and honest investigation, in quote, into the Preddy shooting. It's just, Cade, I really see this just getting crazier because you have Democrats and some Republicans plotting this whole exit for Noem.
We will talk about the Preddy shooting and his death from over the weekend with Franz in legally served, get a little more involved in the legal side of things there.
Yep. The nation's blood banks were already running dangerously low when the winter storm Franz swept across the country, closing businesses and forcing the cancellation of hundreds of blood drives. Now that the weather is beginning to clear, the American Red Cross, which supplies about 40% of the blood to U.S. hospitals, they're trying this new approach to convincing Americans to roll up their sleeves. How did they get them? Gift cards.
If it's free, it's me.
Right? So wasn't it a year ago? And I could be totally wrong, but to entice people to donate something, it was like McDonald's gift cards. Remember something like that?
Yeah, and I would see. I guess they label it generic because I don't know if the blood. Look, all due respect, love some good McDonald's.
Me too.
But how do you? If you're the blood bank, you gotta, I guess, be careful about the places you choose to offer the gift cards to.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
I don't know.
I think it was like the biggest joke. I forget what it was, but it was something, and it was a McDonald's
Love
gift
the
card.
Belusos. Love McDonald's. Just
Yeah.
for the record.
Yeah. Yeah, but very generic gift cards. Okay. 8-time Super Bowl champion and one of the NFL's winningest coaches, Bill Belichick, did not receive enough votes to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Sources say Belichick was puzzled and disappointed, with some voters reportedly citing past controversies such as Spygate and Deflategate during deliberations. The Hall will officially announce the class of 2026 during Super Bowl week.
We'll see if Drew Brees gets in that mix too. I know he
Yeah.
is nominated, and I forget who else. That's the only one I really care about. But it is odd that Bill didn't get in his first try. He will get in. That's not. I don't think that's up for debate. I think he will get in.
Do you think he really cares? Like I don't think he cares, other than the fact that he did not get in. I've seen his girlfriend.
Yeah,
He's doing okay.
Yeah,
Life's
right.
good.
Jordan. Yeah,
Life's good.
yeah. She's
Like,
let
do
it.
you think he has all the rings? Do you think he really gives 2 cents about this?
I think he does a little bit, but it is just odd that I think when you come down when you do all those things, that is under your control in a sense. I mean, players have to play and coaches, etc., whatever the cliche. But so he earned all those victories and titles, and now this particular milestone for him is up to voters, media, etc., who probably have a grudge against them and are trying to have their one last stand.
Kind of easy
Right.
to hate the dude right now.
Yeah,
Kind of easy. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean his girlfriend couldn't be younger.
right.
I'm just saying, and she could be younger.
She
Uh,
could.
Oh
I'm
my
looking
gosh.
at Franz right now. Yeah, I think it was more or less, he was probably puzzled because he's Bill Belichick. He's probably like, what?
There was a lot of
Yeah.
reaction from the sports world.
So
That were equally as puzzled, I guess.
jury consulting had here. It's probably more that now people are approaching him, and it's an ego thing of probably didn't care a lot about it, but now it's like, how do you feel about not getting selected?
It's like, you know
How
what?
do you feel about not getting selected as homecoming queen
Oh,
or not making the court?
Right?
You know, and so now it's like, now puzzled. That's an interesting response.
it's great for sports debate, whether fake or real. So
Yeah.
it'll get tossed around. I guarantee you, every show from every sports network between now and noon and throughout the day, and probably until the Super Bowl Sunday in Santa Clara. So, by the way, speaking of, there's no transition here. We are giving away king cakes, and Breland and Brian have been doing it every Thursday. There's another chance tomorrow for you to win one. Carnival season is here, and Mathurns wants to put a fresh king cake in your hands. Simply go to talk1073.com and click on the contest tab to enter every Thursday throughout Mardi Gras. So just a couple left. Brian will pick a winner, and your king cake will be waiting for you at the Kenilworth location of Mathurns. Happy Mardi Gras from Mathurns and Talk 1073.
Franz, could his girlfriend get any younger?
He looked miserable sitting in
Let-
that cheer competition.
Let me let you in on a secret, guys.
Oh, come on,
The
Byron.
the girlfriends can always get younger.
Come on, Byron.
Byron's hating.
Yeah. He said, I'm glad Belichick had his girlfriend to comfort him in this difficult time. Maybe she will let him play with her Barbies.
I would play with her Barbies, Byron.
What's
Or
that
kid-
episode of Seinfeld where like he would he kind of sedated his girlfriend so he can play with her like 1970s like toys and all the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Mm,
In a sense, I don't know, she is obviously winning whatever contest she's trying to win as far as being this influencer. She's literally at every UNC game on the sidelines and this and that, and like you see him, you see her. So
I feel like this is no different than Taylor Swift. And let's be clear, I'm a Swiftie. I've never been to a concert, but I'm a fan. I get it. I appreciate it.
save that piece of audio.
now I am.
I am a Swiftie.
Save that audio. It's a drop.
I can
Add that
appreciate
to the open.
a hardworking.
No, I'm just messing.
I can appreciate a hardworking art. I mean, I hear her shows are like worth it. If you've ever been to an Elton John show, even at his current age, he puts effort into the show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I don't know if it's worth like $1,500, but
We break at 20, right?
Yeah,
Just give me-
I'm gonna break y'all out.
Okay.
Franz, give me a. I'm a Swiftie.
I'm a Swiftie. What's there not to like about Taylor Swift?
Oh, I don't know. She's just a trad wife.
Little mentally unstable.
No.
Next out of sports.
Yes.
You gotta do traffic.
Oh well, actually, I deleted it.
Oh, we're not doing sports.
No, I kept
Oh,
sports.
oh,
I just
we're not
deleted the
doing
traffic thing. Yeah.
Okay. You don't need any cuts for sports, Karen?
I have some. They are. Let's see. If I get to them, they're cuts 16 and 17. I'll see if I have time to get to all of it.
We were actually talking about that Hollywood civil suit with Ryan Reynolds' wife,
Oh, Blake Lively.
Blake Lively, and the text message between her and
Follow all of that.
and Taylor Swift. And in fact, I was on national TV National TV Flex last week, and I said on national TV the same thing I just said. I'm a Swiftie. I like it. I appreciate it. I'd go on a date with her.
I'm a Swiftie.
Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Cade Voisin filling in for Brian, who will be live from Washington Mardi Gras starting tomorrow. Coming up in about 8 minutes from right now, legally served with noted Swiftie Franz Borghardt. And sports. The Buffalo Bills have decided to name their new coach. Sean McDermott out. Sean McDermott been there quite a while, took the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 16, 18 years, made some deep runs, but could never get to the Super Bowl. And there was a guy standing in his wake quite a few times. It was Patrick Mahomes. Other than Patrick Mahomes, it was Joe Burrow, or I don't know, maybe their own faults. But McDermott out, and the Bills have hired a new head coach. This coming from the offensive side. So was the offense the problem? I'm not necessarily sure. But defensive-minded guy out, offensive-minded guy in. They hire from within. They hire offensive coordinator Joe Brady. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because Joe Brady certainly spent time as an assistant on LSU's historic 2019 national championship team, passing game coordinator, working alongside the great Steve Ensminger that year. And so we shall see if this is what it takes to get the Bills past the NFC Championship. Because I think expectations can't be, well, we get to the conference championship. You fired the guy that got you there, so the expectations have to be, this guy gets me to the Super Bowl. Can he? We'll see. You got a great quarterback. You got other good pieces. Can you get it? The Washington Commanders are hiring former LSU defensive coordinator, Minnesota Vikings defensive back Durante Jones as their new defensive coordinator. Jones served as the Tigers DC in 2021. A sad note in the sports world, passing of a Southern University and NFL legend, Frank Pitts. Frank was 82. He went on not only to play for Southern as a wide receiver, played in the first ever Super Bowl. He was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs and played in the first Super Bowl in 67. Of course, the Chiefs did lose that game, to the Packers, but he would go on to play in the Chiefs Super Bowl 4 against the Vikings, winning that contest. That game actually played in New Orleans. Pretty neat. He'd go on to play for Cleveland, for Oakland, for Atlanta, was a NFL scout, was a coach at the high school and college levels. He was Southern's director at the F.G. Clark Activity Center, and also receivers coach for the Jaguars for a period of time. So very, very sad to hear the passing of a great from Southern, from Louisiana, and much more. Fox Business Report coming up next. Cut the mic real quick. .22 here on a Wednesday morning, still hovering just below 30 degrees as Cade Voisin in for Brian Haldane. Washington Mardi Gras coverage begins tomorrow, continues through Friday, and into the weekend. Well, when it's time to get an update on personal style, pop culture, and legal things, we talk to Franz.
Taylor Swift will sell wedding tickets for 6 figures. Taylor Swift will sell wedding tickets for 6 figures.
Really?
Stadium wedding, 6-figure ticket, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I always look forward to the Marissa Tomei drop. It's probably the part of my favorite part of that opening.
You know, Brian made that opening.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
is a fantastic piece of radio.
Blessings under
Radio
this.
art.
Blessings under this studio. How's it going? How's life?
Life is good. Good. Life is good. This time of year, there's a couple opportunities for me to sit in for Brian. So
Yeah.
when he told me I was what was kind of laid out for the day already, he said, "Do you want Franz to come in?" I said, "Absolutely."
I appreciate that.
I never had the chance to sit in on one of these. I'm not very versed
So this
on this stuff. So I don't know how this could be a 2-minute conversation. This could be a 20-minute conversation. I don't know.
I think what we're going to talk about is going to be more than a 2-minute conversation. But I'll say this: I have not been in studio for like a month. My child's mother went to Egypt with some family for 3 weeks, and so
Yeah.
I've had to be calling in. God bless. Egypt looks amazing.
Yeah.
I've had to be calling in. This is like
Do you have to walk like an
an
Egyptian when you're
Egyptian.
there? No?
They absolutely walked like an Egyptian. Let me say this: it's like riding a bike, though. I feel like just sitting in this chair, I'll figure it out again because I'm a little rusty. Some stuff happened last week.
Mhm.
There was a videoed shooting
Yeah.
in Minnesota.
So federal immigration agents conduct an enforcement operation in South Minneapolis, where certainly they have been doing some for quite some time. Alex Peretti, community observer, local nurse, observes what's going on in the scene. He's going to record it with his phone, which I think is pretty common these days. Witnesses say a federal agent shoves a woman to the ground. Peretti then approaches with his phone raised, attempting to help, possibly also record the incident. Agents pepper spray Peretti and others. Witness accounts, bystanders, what we've seen through the video. He raises his hand. Agents pepper spray him directly in the face. Peretti never seems to draw his firearm. Multiple agents tackle Peretti, pin him to the ground. Witnesses say it was 4 to 5 agents held him down before shooting him repeatedly at close range.
Did you see the video like in slow-mo?
I did not.
So like you gotta, okay. So from a true crime trial lawyer positioning, if you watch the video at full speed, it's chaotic.
Mhm.
There's a lot going on. You clearly can see essentially a shooting. When you slow it down, oh man, does it look bad? It looks really bad. Like execute. And again, I'm not trying to inflame anybody, but seldomly in the criminal justice system do I get to use the phrase execution style, but that's what it looks like. Like, and I'll tell you guys, look, there's a lot to unpack here. There's liability, to be clear, but could this guy be prosecuted? Could these agents be prosecuted? Well, probably won't be prosecuted by the federal government, but absolutely could be prosecuted by the state government. If I had a client that did the same thing, they'd be prosecuted for second-degree murder or even first-degree murder. But man, oh man, guys, that video is just, ugh. And what's really startling is the agents were like, it was all justified. Immediately, I don't know if you remember after the shooting, the agents were all like, yeah, we were, essentially paraphrasing, scared for our lives. It was justified.
Yeah, the messaging that came out early on, and I don't necessarily have it in front of me, was he was walking up with a rifle. He had extra rounds of ammunition. It seemed as though he was out to cause a mass shooting of some
Mayhem.
sort, right?
Yeah.
That's what we heard. And then you see the picture that if you look at the still, yes, he is kneeling, the way the arm is from the officer holding the gun towards him. It does look execution style.
Right. Now, again, how you slow down a video, how you play the video, that matters, right? I will say I was in transit when this happened. I was flying from Atlanta. Shout out to my ATL people in cold Atlanta. I was in Atlanta coming back, and I started seeing social media posts, and I'm like, wait, what happened? And a lot of people are like, wait, what's going on in Michigan? Why is there so much ice in Michigan? Like, well, okay, it's a border town. If you think about it, look at where it's located. It's near a pretty big border, and there's a lot of individuals that, so I cannot imagine. It's galvanized. It's become a political topic. Both sides. And interestingly enough, it's becoming weaponized as to this immigration issue. So does the state prosecution step up and say, you know what, we're the state of Minnesota, we're going to prosecute you for murder? Or does this kind of get swept under the rug in as much as you can sweep under a rug a video shooting? I don't know the answer to that. I'll tell you, it is scary.
The video or videos are there.
Right.
The other thing that, and I'm not trying to play tinfoil hat guy, but I think we have to ask the question when we live in this age, what are you seeing that's legit news from the source, from people that were maybe there at the time? What are you seeing that's doctored or AI? And are you able to draw your best conclusion? I'm not saying nothing was real that was there. It obviously looks very much at fault of the officer. Don't know how the situation went down. Somebody said they heard shots, saw the gun come out of his pocket, whatever. We'll talk more about this when we get back here on Talk 107.3.
Galen writes, when considering all the parameters, I think it was a justified shooting. It is sad, but the moment the gun was yelled and he continued to resist, including hiding his hands, the fate was sealed. This was close to suicide by cop. Yikes. I don't know, Galen. You've got an argument, but I don't know, man.
Don't know how the situation was. More about this when we get back.
If you could do a AI baby Franz with I'm a Swiftie, that would be super.
Right.
We had made one a while back.
I should like a little cutout with you and like
Mhm.
have it on the Swiftie.
Let me tell you something. AI, it's interesting you bring that up. There's some AI videos that you watch that are just like, okay, this is Legend of Zelda, like in real life, this is clearly AI. This is not real. And then there's some you watch, you're like, oh, that's an octopus fighting a tarantula in a tank, but it looks legit, right? Other than your common sense of, okay, an octopus is not going to be in a tarantula tank. I mean, but
well, and that's why they can make them seem. There was a recent prominent news agency that had to redact something because they were like, by the way, the photos we shared wound up being AI. So like, at least they're owning that. But if it's something you and I can look at something and go, okay, well, I see a watermark on it, or I see something. But if it's your job to tell the story and you're also able to be duped, then I think.
Well, the speed in which we tell stories now too is part of the problem. We want to be the first to tell the story. Media wants to be first. And that I watched one of my favorite videos on Instagram or whatever the video streaming platforms you're on is. There's a younger kid who's a little heavier set and he's dancing on stage to a Biggie Smalls song. Okay. Have you seen this? Mm-mm. Have you seen this? It won't be hard to find. Hypnotize. And he's like this little kid. It's so adorably cute because like the music lines up with the dance moves and all this. And it's partly because he's a right. So if you deep dive into that song though, and that video, it was actually a faith and worship song that he was dancing to, that they were able to line up the Hypnotize song to it. And I'm like this thing goes viral. People are like, yeah, good for him. I don't care that he's dancing to Notorious B.I.G. All this, and you're just like sitting there thinking, this really, I mean, it's not that hard to do this stuff anymore.
Right.
I mean,
kid dancing. No, that's not it.
Byron writes, maybe don't involve. Yes, that's it. You can't not watch it. You can't not watch it. And he's just he is slightly full figured. I'm not calling the kid fat. I'm just saying it's awesome because he's just.
So he's doing something in church. He's doing like.
Right, it's a
play.
But that's not the original song that he was dancing to was not that song. They just, I don't know what you
because the church didn't have the licensed music for it.
No,
Yeah.
I think people just saw it and said to themselves,
Oh,
wouldn't it
let's
be
add
hilarious? And
Overlay.
yeah.
Y'all.
Byron writes, maybe don't involve yourself in a law enforcement action, especially if you're armed. Byron, I got to tell you, there is
That's something I was going to bring up.
I-
I'm not trying to say like the guy.
he didn't
like,
just,
I
I'm
don't-
not saying he deserved it, but
the guy. I by no means did Nicole Good deserve to get shot and killed.
right.
By no means this guy. I mean, worked at a nurse. Like, oh, whatever. Regardless if he was a scumbag or a good guy, I think there's too many times that we don't value human life. There's stuff that happens in North Baton Rouge with violence all the time, where it's like the first thought to handle this is get and shoot, and people just don't value. But if you see, oh, there's an investigation, there's something going on, and I'm going to go insert myself in where law enforcement are there, they're trying to conduct an investigation, so to speak. It's one of those like no good can come from that. I mean, you would hope that an incident like this doesn't happen. And I'm not saying it deserves to happen.
if he just hangs back and films everything, people are getting pepper sprayed, people are getting detained or moved by law enforcement, ICE agents.
Then he becomes
he's
becomes
just the camera guy.
he becomes the other side of the angle. The kid who's basically just opening up all the stuff about the fraud. He becomes the independent news person showcasing all this stuff.
That's how
I didn't know we were going to play Franz's morning alarm music. This is what comes on when your
Let me tell you
phone
something.
rings to get you up in the morning.
Let me tell you something. I don't go to the club,
Yeah,
but sometimes that music gets inside of you and it gets into your spinal cord. It's just,
Yeah.
and then the lights are flashing. And actually my alarm in the morning is the most annoying, basic, like old school alarm. Like, do you use a real alarm or do
It's
you
on
use
my
your
phone.
phone?
Yeah, use
right.
your phone.
Do you remember the days when you had to use an alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I would set it across the room to make myself get up and go turn it off,
Ugh.
and it worked.
Can you imagine? I'm 47 years old. If I went to like a nightclub, and when I say the club, I don't mean the strip club. I mean, let's say I just decided one thing. I'm a single guy.
Yeah,
This soundbite's for galore for you. I'm a single guy. Let's say I wake up and I'm like, I want to go and just go dancing.
yeah.
Like go like hardcore, maybe phone party, maybe just some flashing lights and all that. That sounds exhausting.
So
That sounds so exhausting.
my wife and I we went to a company get together this weekend, and we
Happy birthday.
thanks. We had our child with my sister, so there was no like worry about time that we were going to get back, and we were out fairly late and got home at a time that was not normally a time we were well into hours of sleep, and went to this bar that had a DJ playing music, and looked at each other and said, "Oh, yeah, this is not us."
I don't belong. I don't belong here.
And I was on the younger end of the boomers that were getting down. So
Are you talking about Edge?
Yeah.
Y'all went to, okay, so
Yeah.
I ended up at Edge I brought a girlfriend of mine. And we're sitting in the same bar, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't recognize the dance move.
the only person I
don't look-
recognized was Franz.
Oh, Franz was
No,
there.
okay.
You were an Edge.
Sometimes you just look. I'm thinking about opening up a disco kind of situation
Mhm.
and bringing disco back, but I don't.
Please.
Please. All right. So here's my question for you, Cade.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about the shooting in Minnesota,
Mhm.
and we're reading through some of the viewers on Facebook Live's
Yeah.
comment. Did this? I'm going to say this word. Did this shooting victim does draw a conclusion?
Yeah.
Does this individual that got shot, did he find what he was looking for by inserting himself into the situation with a firearm, or was this a bridge too far? I can see that argument. I
Yeah.
can see the argument of, hey, dude, this you have a right to protest. You have a right to show up. You have a right to film. But like when you enter into the fray of what's going on to try to help the situation, and you're armed with a firearm, like because he was armed with a firearm, was he not?
Yes.
Yeah. Like
And two, he legally owns a firearm.
Right,
I don't know
right.
what's involved with, like, do you have to have some type? This is not.
So state by state has great question. So we have different laws regarding open carry in different states. We have
Right.
different laws about concealed carry. For the Louisiana viewers and listeners, in Louisiana, we are an open carry state. Although if you open carry, this is a non-legal opinion. If you open carry, people lose their mind. If you conceal carry in Louisiana, you don't need a concealed carry permit anymore. However, if you get the permit, you have certain liability shielding civilly if the poop hits the fan. So you can carry either way in Louisiana. Now, where you're restricted is where are you? Certain places have restrictions. This happened, it looked like in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Like
If you're at a school campus,
you can't
right?
have a gun in the school campus.
Yeah, I know that this was out in the open, and I don't know where the gun was at the time that he was on the ground, either in his pocket or maybe it had fallen out of his pocket. And I certainly look at, there's so many times when these investigations have been going under with ICE or DHS is there, going through, trying to do the job they've been assigned to do. And if you're on the periphery with a sign, with a bullhorn, with a camera, with your phone, as long as you're not in the way, we've seen sometimes they're in the way, they grab somebody, move them out of the way. When you insert yourself into the situation, a lot of times I feel like.
Let me say this. Let me just say this for the record. My analysis of the facts, this guy was probably lawfully, constitutionally carrying under the Second Amendment a firearm. So the fact that he had a firearm, I know a lot of people are like, well, he had a firearm. He was looking for trouble. No. He, regardless of whether or not the shooting itself was a good shooting or a bad shooting, he has a constitutional right to have a firearm. He was in a place where he could lawfully carry said firearm. So the mere having a firearm, and I know this is going to become there's an angle of this that becomes about gun rights, and Second Amendment rights. But if you're lawfully able to do something, you're lawfully able to do it.
Yeah, I've heard from people that are very big, and look, I believe if you have the right, Second Amendment, to lawfully knowing the rules, if you know what's involved to carry a firearm, albeit if that's what you want to do. But this is not something I've saw through the headlines. This came to mind when I'm looking at this story yesterday and wanted to bring it to your attention. So Kyle Rittenhouse drives from Illinois to Wisconsin with ammunition.
Just walking down the street with what it was, an AR-15 or he had a firearm.
He had a firearm.
Yeah.
And you can look at that and say, he was going, this was an area where protest was happening. He brought that to protect himself. You have that right? If you're a gun owner.
So
I don't know if there's any parallels to these cases.
I covered the Rittenhouse trial on Court TV, and I will say this: part of the issue in this case, and viewers on if you like to chat about true crime and legal issues, you really should go to Facebook Live on Talk 107.3. It's fun. Part of the issue is this guy interfering with law enforcement officers doing law enforcement stuff? Because if you're doing that, there becomes and look, guys, I have a heightened appreciation for human life. I love human life. So I'm not wishing ill on this guy, whether he was in the right, whether he was in the wrong, whether the cop was in the right or the wrong. It's a bad situation. However, if you start interfering with law enforcement, does that create a narrative of, well, dude, what did you expect was going to happen? Like doesn't make, again, we go back to the still shot of even his interference, was it such that he deserved to get the coup de grace shot? Right. And again, if you haven't watched the video, I'm not saying you should go watch the video, but the video has the whole entire thing. Assuming it hasn't been doctored by AI, assuming that it hasn't been manipulated, the video kind of speaks for itself. So
in both cases, and they're not the same. I know there's a lot of differences. Going back to the case with Miss Good, she was blocking a road. Officers ask her to get out of the vehicle. She backs up. She pulls forward. Peretti was videoing what was happening. A woman was pushed on the ground to be arrested. I guess in the sense there was an immediate surge of, I'm going to be a good Samaritan, go help this person out. I inserted myself into that arrest or that investigation. From that point on, you turn away from being good citizen, reporting what's happening as the mayor and the governor have been asking, hey, show what's going on, to now I feel like there's a line crossed at that point.
So let me give you an analogy that may not be on point, but we're talking about this level of bad decision making. Let's say you have a house. You have a house, and I just open the door to your front door, or I break in while you're eating dinner, and I just in a Chappelle Rick James style put some big old muddy boots on your couch and start just going to town.
Mm-hmm.
In your house, uninvited. That level of bad decision making has a consequence. Now, the difference in what I'm saying is that analogy, that hypothetical, I'm doing something illegal. The question I have is, in the shooting, was he doing something illegal? Was he interfering? We have a right, whether we like it or not, there is a right to interfere in an unlawful activity, an unlawful arrest. Generally, that only becomes a defense if it's your unlawful arrest. So once you...
So how would he have known if that person was being unlawfully arrested?
Correctamundo. So that's problematic for this guy. Coming to the aid of this individual, while chivalrous, while maybe that is because I think where the rubber meets the road in this conversation is we're talking about legality versus doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And those don't, unfortunately, our legal system doesn't always align. I hate to say this out loud on a soundbite opportunity. Doing the right and wrong thing is not always the same thing as doing the lawful thing. You have a right to be a jerk. You have a right to make bad decisions. There's a consequence to being a jerk. There's a consequence to making bad decisions, but it may not always run afoul of the law. This case, there was a consequence. Whether that was a lawful consequence or not,
What about the investigation of what happened? There was stories that the local authorities really couldn't do much with the crime scene because after it happened, there was so much of an influx of protesters that kind of, I guess, flocked to the scene. They couldn't really necessarily secure things. Does that hinder things as far as trying to?
I think anytime you have a high profile, politically sensitive crime, Charlie Kirk shooting, it invites conspiracy theory of, well, no, it was homeboy on the grassy knoll. It was this, and even now, can you have a valid investigation? Let's say we had a neutral investigative entity investigate this entire thing and render a decision. Someone's going to be unhappy. And they're going to be unhappy not necessarily because of the decision, but because it doesn't fit with their political narrative. And that is an unfortunate reality, is this has become a political crime, even though it's not really a political crime at all. It's a crime that happened because of some bad decision making. Who made the bad decision making? That is going, and what crime was it? That's going to be for a prosecutor or law enforcement to decide. And look, I would not be shocked if this guy's never prosecuted. I wouldn't be shocked. I think there's enough there to prosecute him, and then let a jury decide. And look, I'm a defense attorney. I don't want anybody to have to go through that gauntlet. Yeah. So I don't want anybody to have to go through that gauntlet unnecessarily, but this may be one of those prime cases where it needs to be tried by a jury, if it even gets that far.
And is that something that happens in Minnesota?
State court. I think it has to be state court. I think the feds, I think it has to be state court under state law. Mm-hmm. I don't know that a federal tribunal would be, I mean, it could be tried in, murders can be tried federally, but I don't know that you have a federal civil rights crime. And I don't know that it probably fits more with the state.
Yeah. I wasn't sure, something involved in Border Patrol agent, someone, an agent of a federal agent, so to speak.
So both sovereignties have jurisdiction over crime. If there is a crime, federal crime and a state crime, I would just say this seems to align more with a state crime and under the state, the DA's office in that county and et cetera.
You sticking around for another segment?
I'm here until 7 o'clock.
Okay, well, we have more with noted Swiftie Franz Borghardt when we come back. I've got more time with him tonight, so I'm going to get my fill of Franz today, which is fine with me. I've missed him a little bit.
Oh.
All right, so don't forget, coming up here in just a bit, we'll be live from Washington Mardi Gras Thursday and Friday. Brian will be live for Mornings with Brian Haldane, as well as an additional show from 4 to 6 Thursday and Friday, bringing you all the content.
No, I was going to get us to 47K. And then when I saw you had another question, I was like, we'll just go to you.
Speaking of Swiftie.
Swiftie.
So I have two brothers that are huge Pats fans. And they were musing about the cost of going to San Francisco to the Super Bowl. They've been to a Super Bowl before. And here's my question. Like, Taylor Swift fans spend Taylor Swift concert money to go to a Taylor Swift concert. Where's the line? Like, how much are you willing to spend to go to a concert? And y'all are in the music industry. So, I mean, I know you might be different than the average bear, but like, would you spend $1,500 to go to Swift?
No.
I might spend, if I had a
Super Bowl when it came around and I saw the tickets, I like to know, and I got together at a buddy's house. I've gotten the benefit of having some good tickets through work, but the most I've spent probably like $80, $90 on tickets.
So
they go past 100.
So let's say you have a daughter who's a Swiftie.
Oh, jeez.
Like, do you give that daughter the once in a lifetime opportunity, or do you say you're not going to appreciate this? Like you're,
I had a friend's daughter. She's a friend of a friend. It was in my buddy's wedding, so I got to know his brother-in-law pretty well. And his daughter, high school, when she came around to the Superdome one of those nights, had gotten her a ticket. He said, "Look, do you really want to go to this? We got these tickets, but do you really want to go?" And it was around the time where she was learning how to drive and her permit. He said, "I'll tell you what, I will sell these tickets, and I'll put it as a down payment on your first car.
Oh, wow.
It's your choice." She chose the concert.
Oh,
No.
So what it came down to for my brothers, who are both big Patriots fans, the cost of doing the entire experience.
Like season?
No, going to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
rooting for the Patriots. There's a high probability the Patriots may not win that game. Okay, any given Sunday, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. What does it feel like to get your butt kicked in the Super Bowl and you've spent that much money and you're just sitting there? This is not like an LSU game where LSU's getting trumped and you're just leaving because it's like, I'm going to go back to tailgating and have a good time. You're sitting there. Like, do you suffer through it because it's like, I spent this money?
Right. And the hotel, the flight, the whole trip, the money to the game. Yeah, you just sit there in defeat.
You hate the Patriots.
Galen says, likely not.
So the record is clear. I would absolutely defend this officer in a trial. I would absolutely prosecute. I could do either. I could.
Is there any, I guess it's a stretch, is there any fault or responsibility for, say, maybe he has an out, but the governor says, "Hey, I encourage you," a couple weeks ago, and I'm not saying he did anything wrong.
President Trump says, "Go down to the Capitol."
No. Wall says, "Hey, get out there, take your cell phones, video stuff." Like, he literally said that. So I don't know how, like, do you, and then the same thing, the spin machine from Nome and her lead assistant, or whatever the guy's name is, was like labeling this guy already a domestic terrorist out front. Is there libel things in that situation? What, I don't know.
I think there's going to be a lot of layers of this. I think it comes down to what that officer subjectively knew about the situation. And you can factor in hey, we've been warned that there were going to be people down there doing stupid stuff.
Right.
You look at his training experience. Did he see a gun? Did he know that there was a gun? What did he know? What did he not know? And you have to put all that. The phrase is totality of circumstances. So
You bringing cigars tonight?
I've donated cigars tonight. I have $900 worth of cigars. You should, Borghardt Law Firm cigar. You should take a picture of it. Has a label on it and everything. Dude, only.
Are you you're gonna be there tonight?
I have my kid tonight, and I have an axe retreat this weekend. So I will probably do a flyby, but my son doesn't smoke cigars.
Yeah.
But my son loves the Baton Rouge Country Club.
I've never been there.
He's bougie. Okay. It's a nice facility. It's a little cold to be smoking a cigar outside, so I'm a little worried about that. But it'll be a fun event.
I got a jacket.
Smoking jacket.
Welcome back to Mornings with Brian Haldane. Cade Voisin filling in as our last segment with Legally Served and Franz Borghardt. We have been talking about the shooting and death of Alex Peretti, 37-year-old ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Legally licensed firearm owner, no criminal record. Other than obviously the officer who shot him, are there others that will be under investigation or possibly prosecuted in fault with the Border Patrol chief who was there? How far does this go down?
So generally, when we start talking about negligent effect or negligent behavior, old days, it would just be you would sue everybody, and civilly, that was where you'd answer that question. Who's liable for responsibility on this? We've seen a trend, for better or for worse, nationally, that we're now prosecuting people for negligent homicides for this very conversation. The classic example recently is the officer that doesn't go into the school shooting.
Uvalde?
Yeah. As well as in Florida, there was another one, Scott Peterson. We are seeing prosecutions for Hollywood actors, Alec Baldwin, for Rust,
right,
and accidentally shooting so negligent homicide is becoming an uptick. We want to assign responsibility. We want to prosecute that responsibility. That said, I don't know yet. It's premature to say whether or not there will be collateral prosecution. First of all, there may not be a prosecution of this ICE agent. This shooter may not get prosecuted. I know that will upset a lot of people. It will upset a lot of people if he does get prosecuted.
Right.
I will tell you on this one, I think that there is enough to make an arrest. I think there is enough to prosecute, but I also think that there's an argument with a straight face for self-defense, and that the officer may have been acting in self-defense based on a totality of circumstances. I know that sounds weird to people. I know that sounds, wait, there's enough, but there's a defense. Wait, are you talking on both sides of your mouth, Franz? Are you a lawyer? Is that what you're doing? No, because sometimes a jury needs to be the one to make decisions on stuff. The cut and dry cases, those never go to trial. The cut and dry cases get pled out, or they don't get prosecuted because there's no criminal activities. This, I think that there's enough here to merit it. Now, that said, I, like you, like others, I'm seeing the video. There's a whole bunch more going on.
Yeah.
Right. There are things that you don't have with the video, the sounds, the smells of the environment. What else is going on? How much pepper spray was flying around? These things matter. You know, what was he saying before he gets into the fray? You know, where was the gun on his person? These are all questions that I have. But I think that the problem is this has now been politicized, and getting a quote unquote independent investigation is going to be difficult.
The officer has to make a split-second decision, and I assume at the same time you're thinking about yourself and you're thinking about, while you're there, the people around you. So is there arguments there?
So I think that the law enforcement community has the constant problem of, one, they're trying to protect and serve the community. Two, trying to go home. And I don't think people fully appreciate in their day job. Like, you and I are sitting in a radio station. It's cold outside. We're in heat.
Pretty comfortable.
Like,
though.
I don't sit there and constantly
Conditions.
think about, hey, I'm going to do something and it may affect my ability to go home to my child.
Right.
And that is a part of the equation. Is law enforcement officers in 2026 have to be constantly vigilant, have to constantly be worrying about, what is going to happen, what's going to, and look, the other piece is, this is a highly politically charged topic. This is not going anywhere, and this won't be the last shooting, unfortunately. All right, guys, I'm out. No court TV today. I think I'm going to go do Our Lady of Mercy. Swifty.
Bye, Swifty.
Part of me would love the idea of dating Taylor Swift. Part of me would think that I would become fodder for a song.
Oh yeah.
I would be like the Johnny.
If you can find a way to like, if her and Travis don't work out, and you guys can date, and she writes a song called "Legally Served," that would be fantastic. That'd be your new open.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
You ever ridden Mechanical Bull before?
I try not to. No.
Yeah. No, I have.
Everybody, especially if they've had a few, everybody looks at the Mechanical Bull and thinks, I'm going to be that special unicorn that stays on the Mechanical Bull a
Right,
little bit
I've
longer
done
than
it
everybody
before.
else. You've had that thought. It is a universal thought. When I think of dating Taylor Swift, I think of a guy thinking, I'm that special unicorn. I'm going to last longer than everybody else. By
Right.
the way, this has been the longest relationship I think we've seen her with, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
And
I
it
don't know. I
almost
mean,
seems healthy.
No, I lied. She was with Joe for 7 years.
Okay. I'll see you guys.
Yeah. Bye, Franz.
I have time for the restroom. Probably do, huh? How much time we got before we come back?
What happened?
I got time to go to the restroom.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you gotta hold it, Cade. Right? Hey.
What you doing?
Oh, but chilling. So Brian,
I don't know how that went in. I know
he's,
exactly.
well, he's trying to get to DC.
Oh,
He's trying, but I don't think. I think his flight got delayed.
it's a weather.
Yeah. Look.
Hey, quick question.
Hey.
No, go ahead. Go. Show me that.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna make it or not.
so when did he fly out? Or supposedly he was gonna fly out?
I think he was supposed to take off at like 6:05.
Like this morning?
Yep. And he was on Facebook 15 minutes ago, so he didn't fly out yet.
Oh, so you're gonna do the show here today anyway? Oh, okay.
It's always gonna be Cade. Yeah. Zip Recruiter, try it free.
Right now, to try it free. On your way to your message. 4 out of 5 employers in post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate with the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
A drive time on I-12 is 27 minutes from Cuban to the 10-12 split. If you're traveling on LA1 from Addis across the Intercoastal to the I-10 on-ramp, 15-minute drive there.
Try it free.
415 across the river to the 110. It's about a 6-minute drive. Along that drive, we do have word what appears to be a new accident around the top of the bridge. Although the back I'm ready to narrow.
This report is sponsored by Beer King. Whoever said opposite the track was definitely talking about the new spicy menu at DQ. Spicy flamethrower chicken strip served with a dip of sweet DQ soft serve. Sounds wrong, but tastes so right. The new spicy menu at DQ. Happy tastes good. For a limited time, participating locations.
This report comes to you from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
This is Adrienne Holly with Relief Windows, your window and door headquarters. ReliefWindows.com.
Talk 1073 Weather.
Plenty of sunshine today with warmer temperatures. Expect highs in the mid-50s later this afternoon. Skies should remain clear overnight. It'll be chilly again with lows around 30. A few more clouds will mix in Thursday, but otherwise mostly sunny. Highs getting closer to 60. A cold front moves through early Friday with more cloud cover and temperatures in the upper 40s.
Manitat's representative during
highs in the 30s.
Minneapolis town hall.
Spray some stuff on it.
Storm station forecast. WBRC Channel 2.
7:04 Wednesday morning. Cade Voisin filling in for the great and powerful Brian Haldane, who will be coming your way tomorrow from Washington, D.C. Every year, Louisiana's leaders, influencers, and decision makers head to our nation's capital for Washington Mardi Gras. Talk 107.3 right back in that mix. You can join Brian tomorrow morning for Mornings with Brian Haldane, as well as Friday morning, and two special after shows Thursday and Friday from 4 to 6. Our coverage is presented by Presley Wealth Management, Rev, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, and Restore the Mississippi River Delta, as well as Baton Rouge Metro Airport. We're coming to you from Talk 107.3, comes to you from the 180 Pros studio. It's time to get to Top Stories and Trending. Donaldsonville Mayor Leroy Sullivan announced that the city's warming shelter will remain open through Monday, February 2nd, extending its original schedule as freezing temperatures persist across South Louisiana. Residents needing a warm place to stay are encouraged to use the facility. A Denham Springs police officer riding a motorcycle was involved in a crash with an SUV Tuesday afternoon at Range and Railroad Avenues. The officer was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, while the individual in the SUV was not injured. Police say the crash remains under investigation. A 20-year-old Jacory Williams shot in the back Monday night at Jetson Avenue in Plaquemine and was airlifted to a Baton Rouge hospital, where he remains stable but in guarded condition with possible paralysis. Deputies arrested 19-year-old Tyron Andrew Walker on an attempted murder charge Tuesday. Sheriff Brad Stassi said the shooting occurred as the victim was fleeing and posed no threat, adding that the incident reflects how quickly gun violence can alter two young lives. Iberville Parish narcotics agents arrested 47-year-old Donnie Sanchez of Plaquemine and 55-year-old Mary Elizabeth Hutchinson of Addis on Tuesday for allegedly dealing meth. Both were booked into the Iberville Parish Jail on charges of possession with the intent to distribute, also possible possession of drug paraphernalia, while Hutchinson also faces an obstruction of justice charge. Sad story to be our top story, but this coming to us late yesterday afternoon from the Louisiana Radio Network. 5 additional deaths related to Louisiana's recent sub-freezing weather have been reported by the Department of Health, bringing the total to 8. Fatalities include a 79-year-old DeSoto Parish woman whose oxygen equipment failed during a power outage, a 46-year-old DeSoto man who died in a car accident along some icy roads, 2 Sabine Parish residents, a 62-year-old man and a 59-year-old woman who suffered hypothermia after a power outage, and a 78-year-old Franklin Parish woman who also died from hypothermia.
Right, Cade, what is going on in Minneapolis? First and foremost, President Trump on Tuesday gave his Homeland Security Secretary a vote of confidence, saying Kristi Noem is doing a very good job and that she would not be stepping down. Trump also expressed that he wants a very honorable and honest investigation into the Pretty shooting. Cade, it's just politics in 2026. You got these mystery liquids and impeachment.
Somebody walked up
chaos.
to Ilhan Omar and shot her with some kind of brown spray of some type.
Yep.
She was calling for the resignation or impeachment of Kristi Noem, as well as the abolishment of ICE, and tensions are high.
Yep, tensions are high. Indeed. The nation's blood banks were already running dangerously low when Winter Storm Fran swept across the country, closing businesses and forcing the cancellation of hundreds of blood drives. Now that the weather is beginning to clear, the American Red Cross, which supplies about 40% of the blood to U.S. hospitals, is trying a new approach to convincing Americans to roll up their sleeves. And how do they do it? Gift cards.
If it's free, it's me.
Right? I know. See, gift cards is one thing, but if they said free food, there we go.
There we go.
Yep, there we go. That's the kicker. All right. 8-time Super Bowl champion and one of the NFL's winningest coaches, Bill Belichick, he did not receive enough votes to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Sources say Belichick was puzzled and disappointed, with some voters reportedly citing past controversies such as Spygate and Deflategate during the deliberations. The Hall will officially announce the class of 2026 during Super Bowl week.
So I was looking for that list because I knew Drew Brees is on it, and I'm trying to find who else was nominated. Nominees include Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Alex Smith. Those are the quarterbacks. Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch, LaShawn McCoy, Fred Taylor, Larry Fitzgerald, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith. There's a lot of good ones on here. Reggie Wayne, Hines Ward, Jason Witten, Greg Olson, Terrell Suggs, Kevin Williams, Halati Noda, James Harrelson, Rodney Harrison, Darren Woodson, Charles Tillman, Jari Evans, as far as Saints are concerned, Lomas Brown, and now we found out that Bill Belichick not going to make the cut for his first year in. He'll get in. It's a matter of when. This was his, I guess, first year to be eligible, and he's not getting in on the first try. I think now this gives you doubt, because if somebody like that with his pedigree can't get in year one, now I know there are things that they're holding against him, which I think they shouldn't. But Drew Brees had a fantastic career, and I'm biased because he played for my hometown team, but I would think he'd get in year one. But if Belichick can't get in year one, is that the standard? I don't know. I wonder if Brees will have to wait another year. I think he gets in this year. I would hope so. That would be fantastic, considering there's nothing really as a Saints fan to root for this Super Bowl, because I don't like the Seahawks for selfish reasons, Patriots, whatever. But we'll see if our own Drew Brees can get himself in. Let's see. It is 7:12 here on Wednesday morning. Temperatures, I believe, around 31 degrees here as we approach hour 2 of today's show. Don't forget, you can tune in Thursday as Coach Kim Mulkey leads the LSU women's basketball team against Arkansas. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Tip-off is set for 7. We're proud to bring you every game all season long on your home for LSU women's basketball, Talk 107.3. Now, as we mentioned, oh, good. You can go right into that interview when we get back.
Okay.
You want me to just go right into it?
Yeah, I think it's, and then I'll have to probably tag it on the other end. After it's done, I'll come back to me. Let's see.
So his flight's delayed, I believe.
Yeah,
he's having trouble getting out this morning.
I guess hopefully he can get something in New Orleans. He texted me, but
he's still live on Facebook. He didn't take off yet. Oh shit.
Oh, he was on Facebook?
Yeah, he has a little ring thing that shows he's live right now. And I think what was his flight? 6:15, something like that.
Yeah. So we're gonna get here. How long is the interview?
Total, 11 minutes and 14 seconds.
Okay, so I have a couple minutes to
So,
spare.
yeah, we're gonna get out early.
I'll find a story here.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center. Closing on a home? Mid-City Title makes it super simple. Closings and expert service. MidCityTitle.com.
Welcome back to Mornings with Brian Haldane. Filling in for Brian is me, Cade Voisin. And before we got Brian out of the building as he's flying out through the Baton Rouge Metro Airport on his way to Washington, D.C. for 2 excellent days of conversation with some of Baton Rouge, Louisiana's representation in the nation's capital. We wanted to keep him for a couple of minutes and give us an idea, a preview of what's to come. Now, Mornings with Brian Haldane, Thursday and Friday morning, will originate from Washington, D.C., as well as a special program each day from 4 to 6 in the afternoon. So, Brian, as you go to Washington Mardi Gras, it's not the Mardi Gras that I guess I'm familiar with or we are familiar with here. There's not, is there a neutral ground side?
There is no neutral ground, nor is there a sidewalk side. Everything, I say everything runs through the Capitol Hilton. Most of it runs through the Capitol Hilton. All the big marquee events run through the Capitol Hilton. All the Mardi Gras events run through the Capitol Hilton. But there's so much that goes on throughout Washington, D.C. over the course. It's already going right now. I mean, it started on Tuesday, and then there's meetings and get-togethers, and there's a number of fundraisers as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday it really ramps up. More people get in town on Thursday. Thursday night, there's a gigantic party called Louisiana Alive, which is fantastic. They've got a slew of Louisiana bands that are like in the center of the stage, and it kind of rotates around. So like say there's 4 bands in the middle, right?
Right.
They'll play 3 songs, move to the next stage, 3 songs, the next band will play 3 songs a day, and it just keeps rotating around. It's an amazing event. There's all kinds of Louisiana restaurants and stuff on display in there. So it's kind of like a taste of Louisiana sort of event where you'd get samples from all over the place. Friday night's the big formal dinner with the formal tucked up tableau, if you will, the King's big event, and then Saturday night is the ball. But I'm not there for the ball or the parade on Saturday night. I'm not there for the formal event on Friday night. For me, it's the getting together of everybody. It's when you have Congresswoman Letlow, Senator Cassidy, both of them under the same roof, Treasurer John Fleming under that same roof as well, all 3 running for Senate right now. And they're going to be networking with, different business leaders from around the state, philanthropic leaders from around the state. It really is an amazing way to get everybody from Louisiana together under the same roof. It's ridiculous that it has to happen in Washington, D.C., but it's also amazing when you see it play out. The vibe that's there is somewhere in between a business conference and a business retreat. Think about it in these terms. Like, you go on a corporate retreat, and everybody's mood, everybody's attitude, everybody's willingness to explore is a little bit different when you're away from the confines of your day-to-day office. That's what it's like when you're in Washington, D.C., and you see a whole bunch of people where that, normally would be across the room from each other or across town from each other who are actually getting together.
It's exciting. And in that same comparison, you leave one of these business retreats or corporate retreats and you get very excited. Oh yeah, we should be doing that. That's a great idea. We should do that. And then you get back into your 9 to 5, you get back into your regular routine. And sometimes some of those ideas kind of fall off. So how does ideas discussed at this get moved to the next level?
Okay. So I like to call Washington Mardi Gras the rough draft for the next chapter. And that's exactly how it plays out. What happens is you'll hear a bunch of ideas from people together, and those will translate into proposed legislation for the next legislative session. And I mean, from a legality standpoint, everything, they'll be debated in committee and everything's done above board in the state capitol. But some of the great ideas stem from, well, they probably stem from before Washington Mardi Gras, but they got conveyed during Washington Mardi Gras. So what happens up there ends up turning into actual written legislation from time to time. Now, it's not just about the legislation. It's also about the economic development. There's a lot of growth on that front as well. When you can put together people who have great ideas and know other people from other places who can bring them in for other great ideas or great, business proposals, that gets its inklings there as well.
So it's not just congressional representation or statewide representation. There's business leaders who are there who are trying to advocate for what they do.
Yes.
And meet up. And also, how much is this maybe a way to meet in the middle with a Troy Carter or somebody like that? Does a lot of that happen?
So yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely it does. Where you would have, say, two legislators from different sides of the aisle and one business person with common interests. You'll see them sit down for grab a coffee or something, grab a meal along the way, or meet up at. I'm trying to think of which ones I'm going to. Franciscan Missionaries has a get together. In fact, it's going to be tonight, Wednesday night. They've got to get together from 6 to 8 p.m. And you'll see a number of people in the room right there. And I'm sure topics will be discussed within that get together that bring up a lot of, ways that we can progress when it comes to healthcare in Louisiana. Then you'll see like insurance brokers have a get together somewhere along the way. I know real estate has one on Friday as well.
Mm-hmm.
The National Realtors Association has one on Friday. And just there are special interests and common interests at the same time.
Also, in this event, it's great for business leaders to get the backing of their representation, but when it comes time to pass legislation, you need people elsewhere. So Mardi Gras, yes, we're familiar with it, but do other legislators come into this event who are not familiar with the needs and desires or wants of Louisiana come in and get to experience that or get a little bit a better understanding?
Are you talking about on a federal level, on a U.S. level, like House and Senate?
Yes.
You will from time to time see legislators. You'll see congressmen, congresswomen, senators from other states making their way around. But that is a smaller part of it than it is what's going on within the state. Seeing the state senator from Monroe and the state senator from Lake Charles together, that's where the real, the mortar between the bricks is.
Mm-hmm. Is there any particular, I know this is fluid and it's subject to change. I mean, last year you had a chance to meet with the mayor of the city of Monroe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
8:15 tomorrow morning, he'll be on with me again. 8:15 Thursday morning, he will be on with me. However, he will not be at Washington Mardi Gras. He's phoning in. Obviously, he had to stay home this year.
Understandable.
Because of everything going on. And I reached out. I was like, dude, we'll get you on the hotline because we got way too much to talk about.
Are there others that you're trying to pencil in and wanting to make sure maybe you have some one-on-one time with?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, I've got probably half my dance card full already. I'm not going to go through the whole round, but you'll find different departments within the state. I tell you what, Veterans Affairs. I'm going to have Veterans Affairs on with me tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, in the first hour of the show. That's somebody I've yet to talk to on my show. He's right down the dadgum road. And I always have the opportunity, but it's never followed through on. He reached out to me via a Facebook Messenger saying, hey, I saw you're going to be in D.C. We got to connect while we're there. I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's make plans. Let's make this a real thing. And I mean, that's just one example is State's Veterans Affairs. There's so many different more.
Yeah, this Washington Mardi Gras couldn't happen without some partners. We've had some great business partners who have been part of our Washington Mardi Gras coverage over the last couple of years. And we've got a newbie to the scene, so to speak, in Louisiana Mid-Continental Oil and Gas Association. And what they do, it's very timely. They're part of this year's partnership because there's a lot of growth in that sector, so to speak.
So there is a lot of growth in that sector. LNG, liquefied natural gas, is all the rage right now. Tommy Fauché is actually going to be at Washington Mardi Gras. He'll be joining me, I want to say Thursday evening and Friday morning. Got him slated for 2 different segments right there. Their partnership is unbelievably great because they're a good example of you will see something come from Lamoga or Loga that comes back home and we'll see introduced in front of the legislature a little bit later on this year. You'll see, because I mean, the business of what Louisiana Mid-Continental Oil and Gas Association does is the people's business. I mean, this is one of the backbones of the Louisiana economy. So great to have them dialed in with us, and we will have Tommy on while we're up there. Of course, I couldn't get there without another great partner in the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Rev will be up there as well. The Presley Wealth Management has not made the trip yet. And can you imagine me and Matt Kennedy running the streets of
I was thinking about that. There's a lot of coffee to be drank.
Look, I'm begging him to come up there with me, but he sees the value, or the Presley Wealth Management sees the value in getting people together. Look, this is why Louisiana, as to steal a phrase from Jay Darden, this is why Louisiana ain't Mississippi or anywhere else. Okay, we are the only ones that can pull this off. We're the only ones that can. We live by relationships, right? 100%. We are relationship people. You can't have relationships if you don't get together. Number two, we mix business and pleasure better than anybody on the planet. And I dare you to find someone from Iowa to throw like the Washington Corn Fest or whatever. It's just not going to be a draw. It's not going to happen. And number three is, while we do mix business and pleasure, we do not forget that pleasure includes the business end of it first. So that's and just the stories to be told, Cade. That's the big part for me. Oh, and I'm sorry, I almost left out one of the sponsors. We mentioned Rev. We mentioned Presley Wealth Management. We mentioned Baton Rouge Metro Airport. We mentioned Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. I'm skipping one of them.
Restore.
Yeah. Restore the Mississippi River Delta. Another great partner that's going to be on the show, probably from two different angles. One about the Delta and one about the Pontchartrain.
Great. We look forward to 4 broadcasts over the next 48 hours, and as we lead into the weekend with a chance, at least this year, and certainly our friends up in North Louisiana, we understand and are keeping them in our thoughts and prayers, and a smooth, hopefully gradual recovery. This year is a little bit better in the travel for you. So I remember last year. Last year was blizzard. That was a little bit tough.
Yeah, everything got pushed back. This year, it's looking like it's going to be clear skies, but overnight low around 10 every night
out of the Baton Rouge area. So we look forward to that coverage. Brian, thanks so much for spending a couple of minutes on your show with me.
Yeah, great to be interviewed on my own show.
We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. We will have Brian tomorrow live from Washington Mardi Gras. Mornings with Brian Haldane, Thursday morning, Friday morning, and a special afternoon drive show Thursday and Friday from 4 to 6. Thanks so much to our partners at Presley Wealth Management, Rev, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, Restore the Mississippi River Delta, and the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. You can watch our coverage on the Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge YouTube channel, as well as Talk 107.3's Facebook page. Coming up a little later in the show, as some of you may be aware, I know the big push certainly is what we're expanding from a local standpoint with Talk 107.3. So starting Monday, we're going to be live and local for 6 hours every weekday morning. Brian starts it up at 6. Moon picks up at 9, but Moon will continue until noon. So mornings with Brian Haldane, 6 a.m. to noon. And then the Moon Griffon Show, 9 a.m. to noon. An extra hour of Moon. Brian Kilmeade from noon to 1. The Ramsey Show continues from 1 to 4. And in the afternoon, we are bringing on board Erick Erickson. Erick is a nationally syndicated host. He is from East Feliciana Parish, went to school at Jackson High School, and has covered, politics in a variety of ways, whether it's sitting on a local council, being a guest on talk radio and news television, and then having his own radio show that has then been syndicated. We'll get his thoughts on joining our lineup, as well as some of these national stories that have been going on, specifically what's happening in Minnesota. I believe we have time for a little bit of the story. Speaking of that story, so Senator Bill Cassidy is calling for a full joint federal and state investigation into the events in Minneapolis over the weekend. He described them as disturbing. In a conference call with reporters, Cassidy said things in Minneapolis have gotten out of hand. This is cut 7, Bree.
We need to turn down the temperature a little bit. We need to look at what's precipitating this, and then let's investigate it and make an adaptation.
On social media, Senator Bill Cassidy said the credibility of ICE and the Department of Homeland Security are at stake. He says it seems that they may have rather lost sight of the purpose of the enhanced immigration enforcement operation, and that they could have a profound effect on President Trump's legacy. This is cut 8.
If you're wrapping up other folks, then he threatens his legacy. Don't do that. Focus where it should be, the good things that have been done, and back off on the things that just seem a little bit peripheral to that primary vision.
Dr. Cassidy says that 2 deadly shootings at the hands of federal agents in Minneapolis this month threatened to undo the positive effects of the whole operation. Cut 9.
One of President Trump's signature achievements was controlling the southern border to arrest criminals and get them out of our country. So we don't want to endanger that. We want it to continue.
And as we mentioned a little bit later on the show, we'll be speaking with Erick Erickson and going into some detail about this. And I think part of it is what's ICE, what's Border Patrol. There's many factors at work here, and sometimes we're blaming ICE, sometimes we're blaming Border Patrol. And now Tom Homan, who's the border czar, is there to kind of rein things in. Who's in charge of what? I think we'll get to the bottom of that with Erick. In the meantime, we've got news from Louisiana Radio Network. We've got news from ABC, a check on weather and traffic coming up. This is Mornings with Brian Haldane. Cade Voisin filling in. Talk 107.3. All right. What do we do at 35? You want to pull up that story you had?
Yeah.
Senator Bill Cassidy is calling for a full joint federal and state investigation into the events in Minneapolis he describes as disturbing. Here's Andre Schafman.
In a conference call with reporters, Senator Bill Cassidy said while the purpose of the operations in Minneapolis and other cities was to arrest people in the country illegally, federal agents may have lost focus of that objective.
Clearly, ICE has expanded to other areas. We see that. And it seems from the president's indication is that he wants the focus to go back to it. That's what the American people want.
Cassidy is among lawmakers calling for a full investigation into a pair of deadly shootings by federal agents, saying the very credibility of ICE and the Department of Homeland Security is at stake. I'm Andre Schafman.
Governor Walton did an aerial tour of the damage from this weekend's ice storm in northeast Louisiana yesterday. Monroe Representative Michael Echols was along for the helicopter ride.
You can see a substantial amount of debris field that's all over the area. We have several different water systems and sewer systems that have been down, not just in this region, but all throughout the
The ice storm has the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents busy responding to calls for assistance. Captain Kenneth Balcom says LDWF agents have transported dozens of essential workers to from their work at the Northeast Veterans Home in Monroe and the Northwest Veterans Home in Bossier City.
So they can provide the uninterrupted care for their residents.
An LDWF agent also rescued 3 missing juveniles stuck in their vehicle on the Upper Washington National Wildlife Refuge on Saturday. Rockin' 1000 has been staging concerts in stadiums throughout Europe for 10 years, all featuring 1,000 musicians, and their first U.S. show will follow suit, with Harry Connick Jr. as its special guest artistic director in the Superdome. Connick says this will be the first Rockin' 1000 concert to feature a brass section.
There would be no way for them to come to New Orleans and not have trumpets, saxophones, trombones. I would want to be a part of it. I mean, that's so much part of our identity.
I'm Joan Burns, Talk 107.3.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
It's a 29-minute drive on I-12 from Juban up to the 1012 split. If you're traveling eastbound I-10 from LA 415 across the river and continuing out on the road, 16-minute drive there. On LA1, 15 minutes from Addis on up to the I-10 on-ramp. Still have a lane closure due to a structure fire in Marpaw. This is Highway 22 near Live Oak Street. I'm Ray Romero.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center. Looking for a real estate closing partner in Baton Rouge that offers mobile closing services? Mid-City Title, midcitytitle.com.
At Gulf Coast Office Products, we do more than provide office equipment. We optimize efficiency for businesses across all industries. As a nationally recognized recruiter, you get decades of expertise in education, engineering, legal, finance, and beyond. From desktop solutions to high production systems, you'll find the perfect fit to keep your business moving forward. With 100 employees strong, we're ready to help. Call 225-756-2644. Gulf Coast Office Products, your workplace efficiency lifeline.
This is Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. Sometimes dealing with an insurance claim can seem overwhelming, but you're not alone. If you have questions about a homeowner's, auto, or any other claim being handled, we can help. We can help clarify the claims process, answer questions about the terms of your policy, or help resolve issues with your insurer. At the Louisiana Department of Insurance, our job is to make things easier for you. Contact us at 800-259-5300, online at ldi.la.gov, or through the LDI Connect app.
Brandon Oliver here. You want a company that has a true lifetime warranty? LeafWindows.com.
Talk 1073 Weather.
Plenty of sunshine today with warmer temperatures. Expect highs in the mid-50s later this afternoon. Skies will remain clear overnight. It'll be chilly again. A few more clouds will mix in Thursday, but otherwise mostly sunny. Highs getting closer to 60. A cold front moves through early Friday. More cloud cover and temperatures in the upper 40s and very cold this weekend with sunshine. Highs in the 30s and 40s, overnight lows around 20. I'm meteorologist Dave Baker with Storm Station Forecast, WCRC, Channel 2.
Join me. Down like this each day on the Move the Point Show. Weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 1073.
7:36 here on Wednesday morning. Cade Voisin filling in for Brian Haldane. Mornings with Brian Haldane. And let me see, looking for what our current temperature is. I think it was around 30-something degrees, about 32 degrees. There we go. Here in the capital city. Supposed to have some warming trends, Breland, over the next day or so, maybe into like the 60s, and then cold again, really cold again sometime this weekend, I think.
And I say warming. Tomorrow we're only supposed
Above
to get
freezing.
to 58, Friday 54. And then Saturday, get this, we're back up to 37 being the high, and the low is 23. And then the low Sunday morning, 20.
Look, I don't I say this, I don't mind these colder temperatures, and I certainly don't want what's happening to our neighbors in North Louisiana.
Right.
Some of the scenes in Nashville with trees exploding, literally trees that are exploding. And the ice that is just, inches thick on these trees, knocking down power lines, going through people's homes. But I can appreciate colder temperatures here with the perspective of what's going on, because I know we're months away from it being 80, 85 and muggy and miserable.
Right.
And cutting the grass and changing shirts 3 times and whatever the case may be. So give me my colder temperatures. Would I have liked to have something like this on a cozy day at Christmas instead of it being like 70 or 80 at Christmas? Could we
Right.
space this out a little bit differently? You can always get what you want. I
I'm
guess.
with you, Kate, because our summers down here are so brutal.
Mhm.
It'll take the wind out of you. And so you mix humidity from the Gulf in with our temperatures in the summer. I'm going to be happy with these cold temps right now.
Something to help you out. Talk 1073 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to cover your car payments this year. Enter to win $5,000 plus a bonus shot at 6 months of Benny's Car Wash. So you get a couple of free car washes as well. Get extra entries when you subscribe to our Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Go on YouTube, make sure you're searching correctly. Talk 1073 Baton Rouge. That's our YouTube channel. You can enter now at talk1073.com. It's real simple, real easy to do. Speaking of car payments, for a lot of people, Breland, they have skyrocketed.
Yep. Gone are the days, Cade, where we see, I don't know, a $200, $300 car note. So here's the deal. Two big national money stories hitting home for us once again. First, CNN reports, I think it was yesterday, more Americans are facing $1,000 car notes. That's the norm. That's going to be our normal. And now Yahoo Finance, I believe yesterday or the day before, says people are now turning to a no buy 2026. So it's this challenge that many families are starting to do. You look at your pocketbooks, you look at your checkbooks if you still write checks, but you're standing back and saying, how do we cut costs as a family ahead of the rising grocery prices, gas prices? And, you know, Cade, you have a little girl. I have 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
We have extracurriculars. My boys are in soccer. They're in gymnastics. Every time I turn around, their school's having some sort of club that you can put them into. So there's a fee for that. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how these two collide for families right here in Baton Rouge. Bottom line, you got to have a car in Baton Rouge, Cade. You got to have a car, because it's not like New York City, or I wouldn't even say Los Angeles. I would say New York City, where the norm is to walk everywhere. When I went to New York in 2021, I think I walked 15 miles a day. You either Uber,
take some type of public transportation,
or do the subway. Whereas here in Baton Rouge, in Facebook Live, you can chime in on this. If you're too, remember, we're always live on Facebook Live every day mornings with Brian Haldane. The normal, from what CNN is projecting, $1,000 car notes. And you cripple that and you budget that into no spend 2026. A lot of families, let me read the story right here. A lot of families are cutting eating out. They're cutting out getting new clothes, having the updated and fanciest electronics. So you don't need the iPhone 17. How about an iPhone 8? Avoiding non-essential purchases for part of the year to cut spending money, saving money, reducing debt, and reaching financial goals. So you can afford your $1,000 car note, Cade.
Well, Dave Ramsey would say, if you're broke, the only time you should be seeing the inside of a restaurant is if you're working in one. So I understand the idea of cutting back on some of those things. And, you know, it's interesting, a no buy 2026. The article points out not buying clothes. I'm already in that mix. My wife has to force me to get a new pair of jeans or whatever. But if you're going from paying on average $300 to $400 a month for a car, and in some cases the average used car payment was around $538, and the average new car payment was around $769. If you add that 15% interest to it over the course of 72 months, it's certainly going to get up there. And the rule of thumb, I know from the Ramsey side of things, and not to get preachy here, I'm just issuing a show that we have, and what he points out. The ideal scenario is to save up and buy a car with cash, eliminating car payments and interest. Buy used. New cars significantly lose value very quickly, up to 60% off in the first 5 years. His golden rule of thumb, the half income rule. Total value of all your vehicles, anything with wheels and motors, should not exceed more than 50% of your annual income. He preaches avoiding new car. Don't buy new, but certainly buy used. In fact, he goes as far as saying, don't buy a new car unless you have a net worth of at least $1 million. Otherwise, you're wasting money. Focus on getting a good deal. Do your research, negotiate, be willing to walk away to get the best price, especially when paying cash. And we talked about with Franz earlier in the show, the idea of going away. Okay, you've got this gigantic car note.
Right.
Sell that car, get you a beater, and run on that for a while. You know, and my pushback to Dave in that sense was, well, is that going to put you in the shop more times than not. You got a family of
Right.
3 or 4 kids, and you've got soccer practice, gymnastics, school, and extracurricular activity, and you're going to work, and your husband's going here. You can't afford to have a day where it's sitting in, or a week where it's sitting in the shop.
Correct.
So
And Matt chimed in on Facebook, Cade. He said, it depends. Type of car. New car versus used car prices are very different. So tying into this, I had an incident. I have a 2019 Toyota Highlander.
Mhm.
I agree. I'm one of those people, you got to buy used. You got to buy used because as soon as you drive it off the lot as a new car, depreciation goes down. I get it. So it's been preached in my household, let's buy used. Do you know that I bought that Toyota Highlanders, that it's a 2019, it is used. I'm running into issues with it. Every time I turn around, the engine has to be worked on. At one point, I got in a little fender bender. The insurance company was trying to tell me I never changed the oil in it. I'm like, no, that's not right. So now I'm starting to think, did the previous owner not change the oil in the
was
in the
it that
Highlander?
president with the Carfax? And all that stuff?
Yes, and we passed. I remember when I bought it, it was one owner, no damage, nothing. But I'm running into issues with this used Toyota Highlander, which Toyota is supposed to be reliable. So Matt, I go back and forth with that. I don't know about you, Cade. It's like, and here's the kicker: a used car with low mileage, it's just as much as a new car now. You might as well just buy new. So I don't know, Cade. And I'm with you. We have kids, so you want a reliable vehicle.
Yeah, and that was something I had before we had our daughter. I had a car that was very reliable, but I had it somewhere between 10 and 15 years. And I probably could have driven it a little longer, but chose to get something a little bit bigger, a little more space, and something that was a little newer. Not new, just something that wasn't 2012 or whatever, wherever I gotten it. And so, or maybe even older than that. Either way, yeah, it was older than that. So I made that decision. But now in a household where we have 2 vehicles that are paid off, and we're trying to drive these things as long as possible, the idea, I don't know if a no by 2026 trend, I will give you a trend. Take the payments. If you pay off your vehicle, take the payments you were already, say, prior to the payoff. If your payment was $600 a month or $500 a month or $400 a month, if you were already in the routine of doing that, then continue making those payments. Pay yourself. Put that in. Okay, hey, there's no more, I'm not paying the bank anymore, but take that money and put it into savings every month, or take that money and set it aside, because you're still used to you were still living in that operation where you were getting that money. So take that money, like you were make the car payment to yourself, and over the year, almost like a no buy, so to speak, look what you've saved up over the course of a year, 2 years, etc. I'm not saying it's an exact science, but it's something that could help. If you were pressed on a no buy 2026, what would be the 3 things you would put on that list?
You know what? No buy eating out, because I have a family of 5, Cade. No alcohol. We go out to eat easily $200. So I would say no eating out. I would say no impulse buys on Amazon. Only needs. So we need toilet paper. All right, it's going in the car.
Yeah.
But like, do I need a new case for my iPhone?
Probably not, no.
And then my third choice, gosh, I would probably say no new clothes this year. I don't need them. I got clothes. Even if they got holes in them, I got clothes. What about you, Cade?
I would say eating out. And look, I it's a family of 3, but to go eat out and to get 3 meals, an appetizer or a dessert, let's say either or, if we each got a cocktail, it adds up. And if you do that, say twice a week, it's more so of we have a tendency, okay, we have a Friday or something, that's the day we go do something, but I would say cut out eating out. I would look at like a random purchase. There's times where, impulse buy, you'll be at a store, maybe I'm not necessarily a clothes shopper, but you see something you want to get based on need and necessity as opposed to want. The eating out is probably the top.
That's the big one. I would say that's the big one. you know, with the power of TikTok and social media now, I follow all these people who, how do we budget eating out as a family of 5 under $80 a week, you know? And so we really don't eat out. We really don't eat out as of January 1st. Another thing is, and I cut the cord years back, but have slowly started to add things up because we've added, we got this streaming service. I had to go through an inventory of what are we actually watching? Oh, right. There's HBO Max, Hulu. That are like $30 when I'm combined. I don't need all that. Put that away. Do you necessarily need that? Find time to go touch some grass, go do some other stuff. And maybe it's more beneficial because you're outside, you're walking, you're riding your bike, and getting a little exercise at the same time. All right. Cool. Hopefully that helps you along the way on this chilly Wednesday morning. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll touch base, like I said, with Erick Erickson, also Michaela York, joining us from Chef John False. This is Your Money Now. Shit. Matt says my family of 4 just a meal and sodas. Eating out with tip hits $100 easily. I knew that. He said, dang, soft drinks are now $4 in some places. That's crazy. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. You have to stay in history. Oh, let me get that ready. I can do it pretty quick. I'm gonna do. Let's see. Try it, please. Tiger fans, are you looking for the latest news on all things LSU and Tiger Magazine? Be sure to go to stores. When you pick up the magazine or browse over to the website, Tiger Magazine. There's a story. There's some cuts I was gonna play here. You have cut 16 and 17. Okay.
accident on Perkins. Blue Bonnet also a stalled vehicle, Florida Boulevard and Fairfax. But as far as the interstate system is concerned, things remain in pretty good shape. That said, we do have I-12 backups, making the form close to Jubin, running tight up through the O'Neill area. And if you're coming in on eastbound I-10, expect a break from the Port Allen side of the bridge on to the Washington Street exit. I'm Ray Romero. This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting strong. Starts at AutoZone. Where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107 Traffic Center. Buying or selling a new home? Mid-City Title makes it easy. Mobile closings, expert services, midcitytitle.com.
$7:55 here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Cade Voisin filling in today. 32 degrees in the capital city. Temperatures expected to, I'll say this as politely as I can, warm up, but not too much, because it will be back down again sometime this weekend, and in some parts into the 20s again. Before we get to top of the hour news and this day in history, a sports story that didn't get a chance to get to in hour number one, but want to acknowledge former Jennings high school football coach Rusty Phelps passed away over the weekend after suffering a stroke. Phelps had coached for a total of 35 years. 35 years, 28 at Jennings High School. Former Eunice football coach Paul Trosclair said Phelps was one of the good guys. Cut 16, Bree.
You could call Rusty if you needed help with film or anything like that. And even though it was always a big game, when the game was over, we shook hands. So Rusty was a class guy. He was a nice guy and great storyteller, fun to be around.
Phelps led Jennings to 5 district championships, 8 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and the Class 3A finals in 2019. Trosclair, who coached against Phelps for many years, says Phelps meant a lot to the Jennings community. Cut 17.
He was from North Louisiana, but he fit right in. So just the fact that he stayed there for so long tells you a lot about Rusty, the kind of guy. He was consistent. You knew what to expect. There were no scandals, no problem. So that's just the way it was with Rusty. You knew what you were going to get, and he brought it every day. His teams played hard.
You know, I've been very fortunate since I moved to Baton Rouge to cover the high schools sports scene, prep sports, and very specifically, probably more football than anything else. Joined the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show shortly after moving here in 2009, and then became the host of the show. And we had various branches of Louisiana Prep Weekly, Louisiana Prep Preview that we continue to this day, working alongside guys who coach themselves, and Coach Todd Black and Jimmy Roy, both of whom had chances and opportunities to coach their sons, and you know have had a nice relationship with East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sid Edwards, who I've known as a coach for the longest time since I've been here. You know, the coaches in the area, in this area, you know, I think do it the right way. And I didn't know Coach Phelps all that well. Certainly I'm familiar with the name and what he's done and what he's meant to people. But in the chances I've had to interact with coaches at the high school level, from the ones that have had tremendous amounts of success, wins and losses and on the scoreboard, to everyone else, they do it for the right reasons. You can point to a coach, Guy Mastretta out in Dutchtown, Coach Brewerton out in Zachary, Coach Weiner, the Weiner family from Coach Dale on. There's a lot that goes on, and the coaches will always say your payday is not necessarily what happens on Friday, what happens during the week. It's when those players come back years down the road, coaches come back the road, and tell you about their family and tell you about what you meant to them, it means a great deal. It goes beyond the field of play. So a prayer to the Phelps family, to the Jennings football community, is the passing of Rusty Phelps there. 35 years coaching, 28 at Jennings. We're going to get to news from the Louisiana Radio Network coming up in just a bit. We're going to check on traffic, a check on weather, and then Erick Erickson going to join us a little bit later on, and also This Day in History with Bree Lynn. I'm Cade Voisin, filling in for Brian Haldane. He's on his way to D.C. for Washington Mardi Gras. ABC News next.
Do you have anything for this day, or you want me to just run through it?
You can just run through it.
Okay.
I don't even.
Because normally Brian would chime in. I got plenty today. So.
Okay.
Good morning. No, we're not on right now. We don't know how to turn that off.
Yes, ma'am.
Take your medicine. Yes, ma'am.
How y'all doing today?
Doing good. Good to see you. We got you at 8:35.
I think it's at 8:15, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
And Chef Bowles is actually going to be the one
Okay.
talking.
Okay.
I can always jump in if I miss it.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think y'all have it.
Okay. Sorry, I must have.
Oh, there's my
We should have some pods, huh?
If there's not, they got to get water in that thing. Are y'all available to do it at 8:35? Okay. Okay. And you're Michaela, right? Okay, gotcha.
Well, I say it Michelle.
Michelle? Oh, my sorry. My apologies.
I go.
I'm gonna go with what you got.
And your name is
Breland. Breland. Nice to meet you.
Breland.
Lynn.
Breland.
B-R-I. I'm really Brittany, but we have two Brittany's here. So I go by my first, so Brittany, and then my middle name Lynn. It works out. Yeah.
Breland.
Yes, ma'am.
Breland. Okay. And your name is
Cade.
Cade.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm Michelle. It's nice to see y'all. Thank y'all for letting us
Oh, thank you.
be on here today. We're talking boucherie.
Mhm.
Did Bill tell you that?
Was it not this week, but next?
February
7th? Okay.
Video.
February 7th. I took it on today.
8:06 here in Baton Rouge, coming to you live from the Talk 107.3 studios. That's presented by 180 Pros. Talking boucherie at the bottom of the hour. Looking forward to it. A conversation with Michaela York, as well as Chef John False. You know, I got a lot of history with Chef John False because I went to Nicholls State University, right? Nicholls State University.
Yes, I went there for 2
culinary
years.
school. I was envious. I made friends with a lot of culinary students at the radio station because they knew what was up.
Yeah.
And so you take the culinary students out to the tailgate, they're going to cook you the best stuff. But it'd be great, fantastic to speak with the chef and about what's coming up here in just a bit. Erick Erickson is going to join us, nationally syndicated host, of course, someone who is going to be joining our lineup very soon, starting Monday. He's on the lineup right now. He's on the weekends. We're moving him from the weekends, from the bench to the starting lineup. But before we do any of that, let's get to this day in history.
All right, stepping back into time all the way to the year 1901, the American League was founded. Professional baseball's American League was organized in Milwaukee, later becoming one of the 2 major leagues in the MLB. Way back in the day. Dang.
What year?
1901.
Okay.
Yep. 1915, the U.S. Coast Guard was created. In 1922, the Knickerbocker Theater collapsed. Okay, so in Washington, I didn't even know this, but in Washington, D.C., the theater roof collapsed under heavy snow during a blizzard, killing dozens of people back in the year 1992. That's terrible. I know. 1958, the Lego brick was patented. The iconic Lego brick design was officially patented.
And in 1959, the first parent stepped outside of their bedroom onto one of those things and screamed.
I was about to say that.
The first, middle, and last name of their child.
Right.
Thank you.
So childbirth hurts, Cade. But I
Yeah.
gotta say, stepping on a Lego, that beats childbirth. Oh
They're
gosh.
slippery and they're pointy and they're not
Yes.
fun.
Right.
And you don't see things in the dark.
Right. 1956, Elvis Presley's first appearance on national TV occurs on the Dorsey Brothers The Stage Show program.
He's pretty famous.
Yeah. Just a little bit. In 1969, and many years later in the 90s, we'll be watching this car chase on the news. But in 1969, before all of that, O.J.
Mhm.
Simpson from USC was the first pick by the Buffalo Bills. Let's see, 1973 ceasefire in the Vietnam War. A ceasefire took effect after signing of the Paris Peace Accords, making a key step in ending the U.S. involvement. All right. 1986, terrible. The NASA Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds after liftoff from Cape Canaveral, killing all 7 astronauts on board, including a teacher who had been selected as the first teacher in space. And the tragedy still remains one of the most significant in U.S. space flight history. In the year 2020, U.S. President Donald Trump releases his Middle East peace plan alongside in a cutoff. All right, let's jump right on into birthdays. Let's see. Birthdays today. We have Elijah Wood, actor of Lord of the Rings. Yep, Elijah Wood, born in 1981 on this day. Rick Ross, rapper and entrepreneur, 1976. Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys, born in 1980. J. Cole, influential rapper, singer, Lord, and producer. Can't talk today, Cade. Born in 1985. Let me see. Joey Fatone Jr., singer and entertainer for NSYNC. Born in 1977. You got an NSYNC and a Backstreet Boy birthday on the same day. All right. Moving on down to unfortunate deaths on this day. Andre the Giant passed away in 1993.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Hal Smith, he was the American actor remembered for roles on the Andy Griffin Show, the classics. Lisa Loring, she passed away in 2023. She is known for playing Wednesday Addams in the Addams Family.
The original. And National Day today. Let me see if I can pull it up, Kay. Gosh, none of them are really. You know what? I'm going to pick one and we're going to go with it. National Blueberry Pancake Day. National Blueberry Pancake
I know.
Day. Okay.
Why does it have to be blueberry?
I mix in whatever I can.
Right.
I'll put in. My kid's odd about certain things. I'll make pancakes on a Saturday morning, and we have little semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I'll drop a couple in there. She doesn't want that.
She don't want chocolate chip pancakes?
No, no.
But she
plain pancake with the syrup on top. If sometimes the stuff like can't go together. She likes chocolate. She likes pancakes. Doesn't want the two of them.
Doesn't want them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. Did you ever take her to IHOP and get one of those bougie pancakes? You know how she still don't eat it?
Probably not. No.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's syrup that she doesn't, a different color syrup or something, which we're good with the regular syrup. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Doesn't like peanut butter either, but that's
what? So she doesn't do peanut butter
she's
jelly?
Never tried it. No.
Aw.
Jelly. Yeah. Yeah. All day.
Come on, Cade. You fell in that child. Oh, JP's in the chat. Chad. Hi, JP.
What's up, JP? All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, syndicated talk show host, soon to be afternoon drive host here on Talk 107.3, Erick Erickson will join us. And then we get to the bottom of the hour. Chef John False, Michaela from Chef John False and Company, going to talk about the big boucherie. That's all coming up here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. I'm Cade Voisin. This is Talk 107.3. Oh, I did see that in the thing. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
So anyway, rabbit and pork sausage, raccoon and rooster stew. I know that's gonna be good. So fun fact, I grew up in Homa, so did Cade. We're born and raised in Homa. You graduated Nichols, Cade? I went to Nichols for 2 years. I went to Vanderbilt. You went to Vanderbilt, Cade?
Yes.
Okay. So follow each other. Cade, how old are you again? If you don't mind.
I'll be 43 next week.
I'm gonna be 36 this year. So Cade was years ahead of me. But I remember when I first started doing radio in this market, I ran into him at Borghardt, I think. And we started talking about Homa. I'm like, I'm from Homa. He goes, I'm from Homa. And I'm like, I went to Vanderbilt. He goes, I went to Vanderbilt. I'm like, what the hell? I know, right? Yeah. I mean, look, it's a small world. It's a very small world.
The bishop's going to be at the butchery this year. Bishop Duca.
Yeah.
An FYI, just in case you needed extra color.
Are y'all both coming on, or just Chef? Or okay.
Is this Erick?
Yeah, okay. Y'all can just hop on either one.
Fantastic. We'll be coming to you in about 2 minutes. And it's Cade going to be interviewing you today. Okay. I like that. That what is it? That cow that you put there.
Oh yeah,
Moon.
Howling at the Moon.
Is it still freezing outside? This morning when I left for work, the wind was low, and I'm like, okay, this. So I think we were talking about it earlier. Sunday night, the low's gonna be 20. I mean, or Saturday night, going into Sunday morning. So when we wake up to church and all that stuff, it's gonna be cold as hell. I just cannot.
Saturday night. Saturday night. Saturday.
That's what I'm telling everybody. Go to Saturday night mass if you can. Get out the way. Yes. We had our guarantee turn 100, so we had a big shindig at L'Auberge, and it was raining when we go ahead now for that.
$8:15 here on Talk 107.3 FM mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Brian will be with you tomorrow from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, for D.C. Mardi Gras. 2 days, 4 shows. Brian Haldane will be here bringing you all the conversation with our local and state legislators. As there's a lot of good conversation that happens there that grow into things that happen throughout the year. And you'll get a heads up on it starting tomorrow morning at 6. Starting Tuesday, we got a lineup shakeup. Part of what I do here at Talk 107.3, I serve as program director, and I have the privilege of kind of helping craft what we air throughout the week, throughout the day. And we are making a switch, an afternoon drive. And our new host, while syndicated around the country, has roots here in Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge area. He is Erick Erickson, and Erick is joining us on the hotline now. Erick, thanks so much for a couple of minutes this morning. Erick, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you could, this is my first time actually have a chance to speak with you, sir. So I appreciate having you part of the Talk 107.3 lineup. And if you could, I've told our listeners this, but give us an idea of your background. Family right down the road, East Feliciana. Went to school, Jackson High School?
Yep. Look, my grandmother went to Baton Rouge High. I can prove I'm a native very simply. Dalrymple. No foreigner can say that word.
Traffic on Dalrymple.
I agree. Yeah. Oh my gosh, terrible. So I was actually supposed to be there this past weekend, but for the ice storm, it was my mom's 84th birthday. So they live up in Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is from there. My dad's from Florida. So grew up in East Feliciana Parish. Spent a lot of time in Baton Rouge in high school, and so definitely a native. In fact, I'm down there. I stay downtown in Baton Rouge and love to eat downtown.
We'll be looking forward to putting together some events with you here this year and getting you in town and having a chance to shake hands and talk. And, some of the conversation, part of the reason I certainly wanted to get you on today, you have a good big picture perspective. Stories you cover on your show have a broad appeal. And what's happening in Minnesota, Erick, is interesting because I see that there's been operations around the country. We had before the holidays and leading into New Year, agents in New Orleans. We've seen them in other parts of the country. Why has it gone so wrong in Minnesota where other places have had, for the most part, success?
Because even California will cooperate with the federal government when it comes to detention. So if the federal government releases to local police, hey, we're looking for this person, and that person is detained in California anywhere, even Los Angeles, for DUI, for possession of drugs, what have you, they notify ICE. Minnesota is one of the only states that does not do that. In fact, in Minneapolis, by law, the local are prohibited from even inquiring into the immigration status of someone they pull over, which is actually even different from Los Angeles and San Francisco. That's how far left Minneapolis has become. So the result is that Minneapolis and Minnesota per capita have a higher share of illegal aliens there now than most other places, despite the weather. And that's why ICE is concentrated there.
There's also seemingly, and to my part as well, trying to do research on this topic, that I think there's a confusion as to what ICE is doing, what Border Patrol agents are doing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It is. Can you clarify that?
Yeah. So ICE does targeted operations, and in fact, I'm bad at it too. I'm having to catch myself all the time. What's happened in Minnesota is Border Patrol. Now, let's pull back the curtain here. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and Corey Lewandowski, her assistant, did not like that ICE does targeted raids because it doesn't get big exposure. It doesn't get into the media. ICE has a list of people. They know where they are. They know who they go get them. Kristi Noem didn't like that. She said it was too slow. It wasn't enough people. So she elevated Greg Bovino even above his boss. He's not the head of Border Patrol. He's a commander for Border Patrol for Los Angeles. They elevated him because his plan was to go into Home Depots where illegal aliens oftentimes will hang out and look for work, go to Targets and find them there. And they did these mass roundups. Well, American citizens were getting arrested. Legal aliens were getting arrested. But it got the spectacle and showed the mass roundups, and that's what they wanted. So when you see the masked agents doing these big roundups, that's Border Patrol. You hardly ever see the ICE agents because they know who they're going after, going at the night, and they get them and they take them out before there's a scene.
Part of what's developed over the last couple of days is some scrutiny on both sides of the aisle of Secretary Noem. Most notably, what we saw from Congresswoman Omar last night. That's not unexpected. I know that her and President Trump met. In your professional opinion and what you've been following, do you see her job being in jeopardy? Is the situation now being, I guess, curbed now that Homan is in place in Minnesota?
Yeah, so I've been telling people she's going to be Gabbarded. Like Tulsi Gabbard may be the director of national intelligence, but she doesn't sit in on meetings and doesn't really advise the president much anymore. That's what Kristi Noem's going to do. He's not going to throw her to the wolves. He's not going to fire her. He doesn't want to give the other side a win, but he's going to stop listening to her. He's elevated Tom Homan again, and what's the guy's name? Todd Lyons, who's the head of ICE, and then Rodney Scott, who is the head of Border Patrol, or the Customs and Border Protection. Those three are the ones who wanted to do targeted roundups that Noem didn't like. They're now back in charge, so Noem will be there. She won't be fired. She'll collect the paycheck, but he's not going to listen to her anymore.
Erick Erickson is our guest starting Monday. Erick will be live with us from 4 to 6, as we will have the opportunity. We have Erick in our on our lineup on the weekends. We're moving it from weekends on Saturday to Monday through Friday from 4 to 6, and glad to have him as part of our team. Erick, I've heard from many people on the right that say, hey, the heck with it. I'm tired. Let them handle themselves, get everybody out of there. You heard various ways of, well, let them be on their own. Is that the worst case scenario? Is that a good idea? Just forget it.
I understand and I'm sympathetic with it, but we had Laken Riley here in Georgia murdered, and the guy had been in New York. Had we just left New York alone in sanctuary policies, which to a degree we did, I mean, he migrated. Illegal aliens don't always stay in one place. He came to Georgia and killed Laken Riley. So, I mean, better we go to Minnesota and deport as many of the illegal aliens as we can than let them hit the roads and leave Minnesota and go somewhere else and harm someone.
The headline from over the weekend, some terrible news, as for the second time in as many weeks, someone was killed as part of these operations. This happened to be a young man in his mid-30s, Alex Preddy. What were your thoughts, kind of summarizing what you saw, what you've seen through videos and photos? Was this a case of a guy with the best of intentions, try to get a cell phone out there, like his governor mentioned, be present, show what's happening, maybe reached out to protect someone in the wrong place at the wrong time? interfering with law enforcement? What's been your take?
It was kind of a combination of all of it. Yeah, he got too close. He did interfere, but he was also trying to videotape and document. And the bottom line is, regardless of his agitation or aggression or whatever he did, they had him on the ground and disarmed him, and then he was shot. And that's why this crossed the line for so many people is he clearly was disarmed. They had found the gun. He had a Second Amendment right to be at a protest with a gun. I think that's a distraction from the fact that he had been disarmed. And then something happened. Someone yelled gun. An agent turned around and opened fire and killed him. And it was a tragedy. We now know from Stephen Miller overnight, he admitted to Axios and CNN and a couple others that local Border Patrol agents had not followed proper protocol, and that's why the scene deteriorated. And it was a screw up by Border Patrol. He should not have interfered. He shouldn't have gotten involved, but he also shouldn't be dead.
Switching topics just for a second before we get you out of here, going to the other side of the pond and towards the Middle East. Do you sense any presence for the United States in assisting what's going on in Iran?
Yeah, it's funny, actually. So I'm from Jackson, but I grew up in Dubai. Had a lot of friends who were Iranian refugees, very sympathetic to the situation. Yeah, there are ways we can help to destabilize the regime, but it's not one or two guys there. It's thousands of people in charge. Mm-hmm. Very hard to kill all the 5,000 to 10,000 Iranian leaders who continue to prop up the regime. But there are things we can do. There are sanctions. There are banking stops we can put in place, and we can blockade their oil sales to destabilize the government. Lots of things we can do, and some military targets to blow up.
He's Erick Erickson, of course, coming soon to our afternoon drive, 4 to 6 p.m. here on Talk 107.3. Erick, for our audience, give us an idea, the preview, maybe an idea of what the Erick Erickson show is all about. What I've appreciated, I really like, to be honest, the day-to-day, what you do around Christmas time is a really special and cool thing to have. But, around the year, you hear a lot of voices that will just kind of repeat talking points. I don't get that from you.
Yeah, my job, I think, is there's so much going on in the world. What are the important things to know? What actually is happening, not what the media says is happening, and take your phone calls and get input from listeners as well. But I just want to give you the truth and analyze it and get away from the tribal talking points. There's way more to life than just the tribal talking points. And yes, even though I'm in Georgia and syndicated, I still talk about LSU football.
Well, there'll be a lot of that to talk about as we get into the summer,
yes,
and into next football season with the way the portal has been attacked by our new coach, Lane Kiffin. Erick, man, I really appreciate the time this morning. We look forward to launching that program on Monday, and look forward to that partnership here on Talk 107.3.
Thanks so much. Go Tigers.
There you go. Erick Erickson with the new afternoon drive host starting on Monday. Like we mentioned, we had Erick on the weekends, on Saturdays, 1 to 3. Markley and Van Camp are not actually going anywhere. We are moving them into that best of window. So Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins will air Saturdays 1 to 4, and then Erick Erickson will be 4 to 6 on Monday. And that on top of 6 hours daily of live and local program. Mornings with Brian Haldane, 6 a.m. to 9, and then Moon Griffon, 9 to noon. Brian Kilmeade remains noon to 1 with Ramsey 1 to 4, but 3 hours of Brian, 3 hours of Moon will have the chance to continue that local conversation throughout the day. Coming up next, 8:27 here on Talk 107.3, a very, very special conversation. Chef John False is going to be in studio with us to talk about the boucherie that's coming up. And this is pretty neat. This happens over at White Oak off of George O'Neill. It'll be Saturday the 7th, so about 2 weeks from now, or not this Saturday, but next, from 8 to 3. You got 100 butchers and chefs are going to gather at White Oak. Can you imagine the food that's going to be there? And you have a chance to get a ticket, take the family, and go. It's a different event. I personally have never been to a boucherie. I certainly have had the spoils of it from what's cooked, but I've never actually been to it. If you want to go and experience something like this, White Oak is a fantastic place, and we'll have that conversation here in just a bit. A reminder, Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to cover your car payments. Enter to win $5,000 to help out. That'll help out with some of those massive $1,000 car payments, I would hope. Also, you're shot at 6 months of free car washes from Benny's Car Wash. You can get an extra entry into the contest if you subscribe to our Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. So enter now at talk1073.com. Breland producing, Cade Voisin here, filling in for Brian Haldane as he's on his way to Washington, D.C. Mardi Gras coming up Thursday and Friday. And it's all brought to you by our partners at Presley Wealth Management, Rev, Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, Restore the Mississippi River Delta, and the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. We've got Louisiana Radio Network news. We've got to check on traffic. We got to check on the weather and a look at the national stories from ABC News Radio coming your way here in just a bit. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in today on the 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel, as well as Talk 1073's Facebook page. Appreciate everyone who's made this morning so easy. It's already last 2 segments of the show and it's flown by. So news coming up, weather coming up, traffic coming up, all right here, as this is a special edition of Mornings with Brian Haldane. I'm Cade Voisin, and you're listening to Talk 1073 and the Talk 1073 mobile app presented by Lake Urgent Care. What were they saying when they? Because Brian had him down at 8:35. I didn't mean to.
No, he said, I couldn't hear him. Hold on, let me break. Yeah, I didn't hear that. Was already. And remind me again of what you were talking about. Yeah.
Hey, how the hell are you?
Doing great, sir. Good to see you.
All right, so I don't know if you know John and Michaela. It's Cade Voisin, and Cade's a program director around here. You looking good, man.
Thank you.
How's Candace?
Doing great. Doing great.
How's the baby?
She's good. No longer a baby. 7. She's 7, second grade. So yeah.
But anyway, you see all this. This is a big deal. I mean, you probably know more about this than Haldane would. You know, This is the old-fashioned boucherie. It's really a nice.
I've actually never attended one. I was just saying, like, I've had the spoils of it, but I've never actually been to one.
But
it's right down the road from me.
Yeah, let's get them all positioned.
Sure.
I'm gonna let you have at it.
Tell you what, I can. I'll let me move. I'll move over the mic too. Yeah.
No. You can just get a part of the conversation.
You wrote the book, you know.
Yeah, you're it. All right, I'm gonna get out of your way.
All right, good. Well, here, look, chat.
Is your phone off, John?
Huh?
Is your phone off?
Yeah, I'm going to stay here through the interview, and then I got to go to the airport because we're doing a big thing for everybody that's going to Mardi Gras in Washington.
Oh.
And all their flights are delayed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Brian was supposed to fly.
Yeah, Brian was supposed to fly.
Is he on the nonstop to GC?
Yeah.
No, I thought he had a layover.
No,
Actually,
it
it was nonstop. Okay.
No, he's sitting there right now.
Yeah.
No, he's actually on his way to New Orleans. Because they don't have another flight out of DC today.
This one's going to go. This one's going to go at 4:40 this afternoon.
Oh, okay. He might have gone back. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, so we're doing a nice thing with king cakes and all the princesses and all that. And all their flights are delayed. Washington, it's snowing in Washington.
Oh, it's snowing right now in Washington?
Yeah. So I will see you at the end of the interview, and then I'll see you all later.
So you got this one. You just got to switch from A to B, right?
Yeah. I'm going to switch you.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's already on A. You good?
Okay.
So what do we have? 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
It's like close to 15 or so.
Huh.
Well, the segment, we get back at like 35, go to 50, or we break before 50?
We go right at 50.
Right at 50? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have
Are
about
we going into your money now?
roughly 15 minutes or so, a little less than that. That's good. Y'all still do the stirring it up?
No.
Michelle got tired of doing it, so.
2 things happened. 2 things happened. I decided to get a master's in theology,
Okay.
and he was opening a restaurant in Mississippi.
Okay.
So at that point,
So my wife and I we've been to, there's one in Mississippi. Is it Revolution?
Yeah.
Is it in a little small town? That's a real
We're not there anymore.
Okay.
But we do have Revolution in New Orleans.
Yes. And that one of my favorite dishes of all time was that I think it was Death by Gumbo with the quail and it like all opens up, man. That's a fantastic.
Still number one.
Ooh, man.
Kate, move over to Michaela.
That roux is like dark and
I'm
nice.
trying to make sure y'all are on the camera.
Yeah. That's the first time they presented it to you. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And then you just everything, all the flavors.
Truly.
not that we're going to say it, but you may want to mention about the bishop. What does Wingo call himself? The meat mafia or the? Do you remember that, John? Wingo, Phil Wingo. Is it the meat mafia or the pork mafia?
Meat mafia. Here is this.
I would say a decade for sure. Yeah.
They've all been at White Oak.
Yeah, I think so.
We did, yes, but we did one with Farmer Lee Jones in Ohio, in Milan, Ohio.
Yeah, we brought it all to him.
He wanted to do a boucherie, so we did it.
I wonder how that was received by people in Ohio.
No, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Fact is, I think he must have thought it was going to be an annual event. No.
Well, you might have to get kind of close to the mic. I'm not 100% sure how those pick up.
Does it look okay?
What's that?
Does that look okay?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And she can tell you if you're.
Yeah, and I can move the mic. I got you.
Okay.
All right. .37 here on Wednesday mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cade Voisin filling in for Brian as he heads to Washington, D.C. for Washington Mardi Gras coverage tomorrow and Friday. But right now in studio, I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Michaela York and Chef John False. Big event coming up, the annual Chef John False Boucherie and Bourbon event, Saturday, February 7th, over at White Oak Estate and Gardens from 8 to 3. Thank you both for coming in this morning. I really appreciate it, fighting through the cold weather and being here with us today.
Well, great to be here with you as well. And it's always nice to chat a little bit about food in Louisiana. And this is a big one.
You know, it's interesting. So my father gave me a book for Christmas written by Ken Wells. It's a book about gumbo. And there's quotes from you in there. And
right.
What's been great is like kind of getting the idea of where some of our food influences come from, because one dish can have so much from this part of the world and this part of the world. A boucherie, which was French, in nature, grew up knowing about it, but never knew the process. And I imagine it probably has its roots in everything we do, not wasting anything, right? I mean, there was you get so much out of a boucherie.
I was going to say everything but the squeal.
Right.
That's a boucherie.
You know, how long has this event been going on, and what was the idea behind having one? Is it part? Obviously, we love to share food, but also the education aspect of it.
Well, I think growing up in the swamplands of Louisiana, the boucherie was a big event for all young boys, especially. I mean, we started being a big part of the boucherie when we were probably 7 years old, carrying wood for the fire, just going to scrap wood out of the swamps to bring. And I remember we would start during the holiday season, because normally the boucherie was going to be around the winter time, you know. So we would all take the school days off and build mounds of twigs and wood to begin the fire. So we started very early, understanding that it was work that would be turned into just the lush table of the boucherie, you know. So we learned early on how to raise the pigs, how to treat those animals, and then ultimately how we were going to eventually produce the meat that was going to go into smoked meat, sausages, andouille. Just about all of our food came that way from the swamplands of Louisiana, and certainly from the pork.
And I'd assume that the early days of boucherie was generated to feed many people, but also the community aspect of it. So you bring in this event, and you're doing exactly what the boucherie is meant for: is feeding the community, bringing the community together.
No, exactly, and that's the way that's the way it was in the old days of the boucherie. You couldn't do it unless all of the neighborhood came together. Everybody had their big cast iron pots, and that's the only thing we had. Everybody had their own group of pots and paddles, but at the end of the day, you needed the community to come. And the great news was that everybody, even the young boys and girls from 5, 6, 7 years old, could go get twigs and anything to build the fire. So everybody was involved, and it showed you, first of all, community, second of all, work, third of all, sharing. But most importantly, we became great cooks because of the boucherie, and we're still that way today.
I mean, you look at what's created, and you mentioned the sausages, meats cut into roasts, chops, ribs, hams are cured. You've got things that are used to make the casings, hogshead cheese, cracklins, or as they say where I'm from, the gratin, down there. So I mean, like everything, like you've got such a variety doing something like this. It's so unique.
Well, another thing that was really interesting about the boucherie and was the fact that most of us grew up, as I mentioned, in the swamps of Louisiana. So we had the pig as the centerpiece, and that pig would be raised all year long. We would feed that pig. We knew the pig, so we also knew what eventually the pig would be. It would be the spoils of the boucherie. But I think more than anything else, the boucherie taught us about work. And I'm talking about work from the time you were 7 and 8 years old, as I mentioned, just picking twigs, but also eventually realizing that we were going to be the butchers. We were going to learn to be the butchers. And of course, I'm a chef today in a pretty large company because of the boucherie. I became just fascinated with culinary because of the boucherie, and here I am with our restaurants all over the world, right?
Well, and John's brothers come to the boucherie as well. Larry Foles is the one that helps dispatch the pig and get all the parts of the pig. So that's kind of a family. At this point, it's a family tradition.
Well, it's the extended family too, because the boucherie required a lot of hands, a lot of work. And I I remember just the excitement of getting out the old cast iron pots from my grandfather's shed and oiling them down and shining them up with that oil, getting ready, going out into the woods to pick all of the little leaves and just pieces of wood would light those fires. But I again, remembering 7, 8, 9 years old, being a big part of the boucherie, and of course today we want to keep it alive.
So we begin the boucherie with the chefs coming in, the butchers coming in. We have a breakfast, a boucherie breakfast, and for the last few years we've had Bishop Duca come to the boucherie.
Oh, fantastic!
And he begins with the butcher's prayer, because we are taking the life of an animal, and we want to know that that animal has been treated well, and it will feed the others at the boucherie.
Yeah, and again, you know, when as kids we raised these animals, so the animals were part of the family. You know, we took good care of them, and then of course the day would come that we knew that they would have to be slaughtered for the boucherie. And I think as a young boy, how challenging that was for us when we raised that little pig, and then we took good care of it, and then all of a sudden we realized that it was there for a purpose, and a big purpose, to feed the family. And that's what we want to do with the boucherie today, is to make our extended family who's coming to the boucherie from all over the country, I might mention, for them to understand what we're doing. It's not just some big game. It's not just a lot of fun. It's not a day of good eating. It's a day of celebrating the life of an animal to help preserve the traditions of the boucherie, and of course to give us the sustenance that we need, you know. So yeah, very, very interesting concept.
Speaking of an interesting concept, something that is quite fascinating, in-ground oven cooking. And this is something that's certainly known to people from Poverty Point, but more so it dates back, what, 500 years ago?
You're right, exactly, yeah. And the in-ground oven was it was created by probably the Native Americans, and even those long before the Native Americans set foot on our continent. And to dig a hole and to burn wood and coal, wood mainly, because there was you could scrap for coal back then, but just little twigs and digging that hole and burning a deep fire in it to get the ground so hot that you could then cover it lightly with dirt and put the meat in it, and then cover it and let it sit overnight, and wake up the next morning and you had a 10-pound roast that was perfectly cooked and tender as could be. And of course, as a young boy doing that, it inspired me to think, well, you know, I really love to do this cooking, you know. So as a chef today, I'm reminded that the boucherie had a big part of me bringing Louisiana cooking around the world.
And is that something that will be demonstrated at the boucherie this year?
Absolutely.
Yes, the Poverty Point Park manager is coming in, Ray Berthelot with State Parks, will be there helping us with the in-ground oven, getting the ducks ready, and
awesome.
Everybody tasting a little bit. We also have Jay Laperouse, who's with Claw and Order. So he's a nuisance hunter. He's really a fascinating fella. So he's bringing the alligator, and then he'll break it down so everybody gets to see that, which is pretty spectacular, actually. And then he'll fry a few alligator bites. Charlie Landry's doing some deep fried baby back ribs while all the other chefs are cooking. Everybody's getting a little taste, and we also do some North meets South. So Chef Folsom and I met Sam Linick in Pennsylvania some years ago, and he's coming with his wife this year. He's bringing a couple of things from Pennsylvania that's similar to scrapple, Italian sausage, kielbasa, all of those things, and a big ring of bologna. So he's full of bologna, so it kind of fits.
Some German influence.
Yeah, right. A lot of German influence, and at the same time, it's amazing how chefs, cooks, and just folks who love the cast iron pot show up from 50 states come into Louisiana for this boucherie. I mean, it's amazing to think that people are just that excited to come, first of all, to Louisiana.
Yeah. And
once they hear, they realize they can go to New Orleans, they can hear the music, they can go see the little, the swampland. So it's a great event. And it's not only about food, but it's about tradition. So
before we get out of here, can you give us an idea of how we can get tickets? And of course, like as we mentioned, Saturday, February 7th, 8 to 3, but where can we get involved? How can we get tickets to go?
At Eventbrite.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We will certainly put this link on our post online as well, because man, it's coming up before you know it. Maybe people are coming down because they're trying to get warm.
No, and they can just come to understand that if you show up that day, you're going to be able to taste andouille, paunce, Italian sausage, white boudin, red boudin, hogshead cheese, backbone stew, white beans, raccoon and rooster stew, rabbit and pork sausage sauce piquant. I mean, on and on and on. Nobody's going hungry that day.
You had me at hogshead cheese, which is a rare thing, right? Chef John Falls, Michaela York, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. This is an awesome event.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Coming up, we'll wrap up today's show with Breland. I'm Cade Voisin, filling in for Brian Haldane. We'll check on markets here in just a bit. This is Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3.
We didn't get to talk about the bourbon, but we also have moonshine.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Oh, that's okay. They'll find it.
Pennsylvania moonshine and a little bourbon. We should have brought a little bourbon with us this morning. Did you need these?
Yeah, I'll keep those.
Thank you. Hey, good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Bill, thank you for setting this up for us.
Anytime.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If y'all are available,
Yeah,
on
please,
Boucherie.
please come by.
White Oak is not far from my place, so that's awesome. What time did I get out? I forget.
We're gonna get out like at 56. So we'll have like 4-ish minutes. Cut the bowl.
Got one more DC Mardi Gras.
Oh shoot. Okay. Did you want LRM cuts at all? Because I closed out of all this. Hold on, I can pull it back.
Yeah, pull them up. I'll go over one of them. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Let's go over 13, 14, 15.
You can see a substantial.
What do you post for this? Obviously, I think Franz has to be posted. I don't know if it needs an article or anything, huh? What do you post for his show normally? Y'all determine that.
I put the preview as the feature.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. You normally post Franz?
Yeah, I posted Franz.
Okay.
I posted Franz already. Brian's posted already. I haven't done Eric yet. I haven't done Michelle yet.
Okay. Yeah, 13, 14, 15. I'll do that, and then we can find something.
Oh Lord, we need an espresso machine in here, man. Hey, did you ever do why can't I think? Not KLSU. What was the Nichols one?
KNSU? Yeah.
You did that?
Mhm.
Okay. I thought you did.
Yeah.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts.
Oh.
How can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
39 degrees.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Relief Window. Experience quality. Answer. ReliefWindow.com.
8:55 here on Wednesday mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along without Brian this morning, but he will be back tomorrow live from Washington, D.C. 2 days, 4 shows, Washington Mardi Gras. Brian will be boots on the ground coverage for that. I am Cade Voisin. In the meantime, 36 degrees here in the capital city, but for much of our neighbors in North Louisiana, it's a different story altogether. They have been fighting through some significantly colder temperatures as well as battling through the ice. The ice storm of 2026, much different than what we experienced last year, but will still not be forgotten anytime soon. Governor Jeff Landry did an aerial tour of the damage in Northeast Louisiana on Tuesday. Monroe Representative Michael Eccles was on the helicopter with the governor and Bree cut 13, if you please.
You can see a substantial amount of debris field that's all over the area. There's still a substantial amount of ice, both on roads and throughout the region. We also know that we have several different water systems and sewer systems that have been down, not just in this region, but all throughout Northeast Louisiana.
Most of East Carroll Parish, which is located in the northeastern tip of Louisiana, is without power and water. Eccles has described the damage in the parish as catastrophic. So
Many of them will still have long-term shutdown due to some of the more critical infrastructure that's going to take time to get back in place. So we'll be working both in D.C. and with the governor to ensure that there's a long-term path to recovery here.
Definitely going to need some federal assistance to help out. Governor Jeff Landry did say that he requested a federal disaster declaration to help fund the recovery effort. More than 85,000 customers. This was as of yesterday afternoon, still without power. East Carroll, Jackson, Richland, Ouachita parishes still have a large percentage of homes and businesses without electricity. Monroe Mayor Friday Ellis says if you are using a generator, make sure it's 20 feet away from your home.
I happened to be one of the people last night that we had our generator. We felt like it was in a safe spot. Our carbon monoxide alarm went off last night, in which we had to move it further out and around the corner from our house. It can happen to any of us.
The safety tips you hear all the time. And as reported in top stories and trending, check on your friends, your family in North Louisiana. Simple text, a call. Days without power, water in those temperatures, tough. Certainly tough for the elderly, those without, and someone like the mayor knows the rules and knows what to do, but had to make the adjustment. when you're talking about using generators. We talk about this during hurricane season all the time, but in times like this, has to be brought up when we, on the rare occasion, do have to fight through a winter storm that impacted a good bit of North Louisiana, as well as tons of places around the country over the last couple of days. All right, so Brian Haldane is in tomorrow, as we mentioned, live from Washington Mardi Gras. A special thanks to our partners who are making that happen. That's the Presley Wealth Management, REV, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, Restore the Mississippi River Delta, as well as the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. And another reminder that Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. Enter to win $5,000 plus a bonus shot at 6 months of Benny's Car Wash. Get extra entries. All you got to do is subscribe to our Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Enter now at talk1073.com. All right, just about to wrap up today's program. Thanks so much to Bree Lynn. Thanks so much to Chef John False, Erick Erickson, and Franz Borghardt. I'm Cade Voisin. Have a great day. This has been Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3.
Bye, Facebook.